Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next, Forbidden History Live. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. And you know it too, right? Of course you do. You've been listening. I know it. And still time to call a friend? Okay. Waiting for the thing to pop up. Well, it's not popping up. Come on, pop up, or what are you going to do? Okay. It's working all good, right? Yeah, but it's not flowing through. So I guess I'll do a refresh. Maybe that'll help. I got to kickstart it. Maybe it's got stale on me, I think is what it is. So let's see here. Okay, go. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, I now need to know that when I open it up early to be good to go. All right, so take two. You did tell your friends, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, still time to call them. Please note that the following views, any opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever being construed as hate, medical, and legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on therealpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week on therealpublicradio.net. YouTube.com as Forbidden History Live, and NinjaCat111 with the Forbidden History Chronicles, the old channel, the Forbidden History series. And it's all Free America Radio Network, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by for the broadcast. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's Forbidden History Live, what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, with your host, Dezert-Owl. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen. Still time to call your friends. Glad you're tuned in here, ladies and gentlemen, because here is where we bring you the most important information on the face of the entire earth or under the earth. Here is where each week we bring you the very best in radio broadcast listening while we reveal the greatest secrets and the deeper mysteries of life. Yet the one question that will always remain will be this: can you handle the truth as it will be presented here this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow at dawn, or wherever you are around the world in the future? Stand by for the broadcast, because it's Forbidden History Live. That's right, it's forbidden. They didn't want this out, but that's okay. We're here now, and we're telling it like it is, because somebody's got to do it. And we're going to conclude, I think, with part 5 on the big lie, ladies and gentlemen. Who was Adam anyway? Who is Adam? What's this, the bright star, this star ram, the Zav ram. What is all these terminologies you've never heard before till you tuned in here, and yet they are part of our original thought, a part of the Indo-Germanic mother tongue. And maybe then their Lucy Fire is the cover, is the cover for the true story. You see, because as it's been proven out by the best biblical scholars and in their translations, that there is no Lucifer in the scriptures. Okay, and so yeah, it's all an enigma, and but it figures that the beast system is going to give us the lie, and not give us the reality, the truth. But Yeshua is a revealer, and that's the good news. And I am your host, Dezert-Owl, a bird who sees in the night. And I just have been so fortunate to have been called out in a very profound way by the great Father of Light, Yahweh, mispronounced as Yahweh, through his royal seed, his son, the great Olofheim, the great Ulofheim, the Ulofheim. There's the vision for love for the many, okay? Because he wants everybody to, not to suffer. And people, when they fall into crisis, they say, why did this happen to me? Why did God do this to me? But yet their lives, they weren't serving him. Then they want to blame him, or why did he do this? Because the majority of the people of the world, and that's basically everybody, are on a superficial plane. And there's very little deepness within even the religion. Okay, we're talking the religion. It's superficial, and you go there and you hear them talking about socialist ideals rather than the deep mysteries of life. They're talking social science and the things that are so elementary within an enlightened tradition that you wouldn't even have to talk about them, but they're talking about the diversion, because they can't just plow in, they can't plow through the deep mystery and interpret the duality and the dual system of what's being presented from the beginning to the end of the scriptures. They can't do it, because if they did, then they'd have to admit that they have no clothes on, and that they're naked, and that they're the serpent, and that they're the deceivers, because they're not saying it as it really is. It's a tragic world, because it's a sea of lies, and we're just stumbling on the truth right here. There's a lot of good researchers out there. There's many people who know the problem, but they don't have this solution. They're stuck in the quagmire of the Greek and the Hebrew, because that's what we would conclude, right? And then we're gonna kiss up to the Jews, right? Oh, Jews, and while they're murdering people, they make the SS stormtroopers of Nazi Germany look like Boy Scouts. Look what they've done to the Palestinian people. Maybe I should just clarify, what really happened over there, because it's such a grand illusion. But basically, the Islamic people, the Palestinians, and the Palestinian Christians, okay, because there were multiple factions over there, and there were also, people who were calling themselves Jews, even though Jew is not Israel, okay, and they're pseudo-Israel. They're wanting to claim something that they never were, because they're Khazarian, and somehow also connected, as I remember, with the Idumean, which is Edom, which is correctly Adam, and through the line of Esau, who is correctly Eshayal. You see, I gotta transliterate every word as I go back, because that's how they confused our minds by changing all the meanings, But so in the Middle East, in the Levant, in Palestine, in the areas of Yerushalayim and all that area, everyone lived together and respected each other's culture. It is true that Islam came through a long time ago, a la the Vatican, because the Vatican created them and then got them to kill the last remnants of the Hebrew people in those areas. And, but at one point then in the future, then they sort of settled down, and they all, were living there at peace. Nobody wanted to kill each other anymore. It seemed like in the Middle East, and we're talking around the 1800s, late 1800s in particular, and that had been that way for a long time. After everything settled down, and then even the like if one culture was going to go somewhere, they could get the other culture to babysit for them. The Islam would babysit for the Jew or Hebrew, whatever they are, because we don't know anymore, and they're really not Israel. So, but they call themselves Jews because they want to identify as being Israel. Switch out, So, but or the Christian might have the baby baby be babysat by the Muslim. I wouldn't do that myself, but that's how they lived back then. They were all just wanting to get along, and that's not a bad idea when you think about it, right? And they know that part of the world that had the greatest turmoil of all ancient history, basically. That place right there. So they apparently were sick of it. But then I think there was something dealing with Britain, and after World War I, one of the deals was that they were going to give a place to quote unquote Israel, even though Israel no longer existed. So they're going to create an Israel. That's okay. If there's no Israel, we'll create one. And so then so there was this little intrusion going on. The migration was going on. Their secret agencies were being set up, for the kill of these so-called Jews who are the Khazars and following the Babylonian Talmud and hate everybody else. If you're not one of them, then they hate your guts, your cattle, and we'll fix you. That's what they'll do. They'll fix your wagon. Just give them a chance, And so they flooded over there in waves, and then by the time I don't remember, because I have to go back and review the history because it's just, I've watched it on the documentaries. I used to interview Ted Pike, who has truthtellers.com or truthtellers.org. He's on the tip of the needle exposing the ADL and the hate crime bills and the Nagahide laws and all these things. Oh, yeah, the Jewish Nagahide laws where they intend to cut our heads off, those wonderful, loving Jews that are the victims of mankind. They've already got it legislated in Washington, D.C., the bankers, that after they're done with the next charade, then they're going to cut our heads off, okay? So they're just loving, peaceful people. Of course, they didn't, just like they took down the Twin Towers, with the Bush administration. What a world we have, ladies and gentlemen. And so then then they move in with their guns. Finally, it's out. This the 6-Day War stuff, or whatever happened. But it's so convoluted. And of course, we only ever got the propaganda version. But when I interviewed Ted Pike, I got the deeper. Then I learned about the other side of the coin very well. I already suspected the problems, but it was really I think it may have been Ted Pike who he produced a documentary with his wife Elaine called "Why the Mideast Bleeds." So I highly recommend it. It's on YouTube. Why the Mideast Bleeds? Because the question would be, why do little boys and girls, teenagers, strap bombs on their body and go into a restaurant and blow themselves up? Well, it's because they got no hope, and they're trying to get your attention. Because after they moved in with their guns blazing, they threw out all the Palestinian people, all the Christian people, the Islamic people, pushed them out. These Khazars move in, and then they take over. And but of course, how the secret societies work. That the unseen hand, the priesthood, they're all like kissing cousins. They're all just like the royal families of Europe. They are kissing cousins, and so the priesthood knows the game. They're all working with the Vatican. You even see the ADL go to the Vatican, kiss the Pope's big toe or his ring, and and the Pope wears the little moon cap. They all wear the moon cap too. You see, they're all kissing cousins, and so it's always interesting that whenever you see an Islamic temple, then you usually see nearby a Catholic church, because they got their underground tunnels connected, and then the party goes on in the basement with each other. And video above, Why the Mideast Bleeds by Ted Pike. Where's that link, Shelley? Okay, I guess she's going to pop it in. Thank you, Shelley, for that. Okay, and so what we find out is that this pseudo Israel, who is not Israel, comes in with guns blazing, and they take over. They take over. It was a what would you call it? A subversive takeover of the former state of Israel that no longer exists. And it's not letting you post. Can you put it in the other section down below the videos on the what do they call that thing? The Dropbox? I don't know what they call it. I can't. Oh, the description. In the lower description? Yeah, you can do that. Thank you, Shelley, for doing that. Yeah, so that's great. You'll be able to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Why the Mideast Bleeds. I was so honored to have Ted and Lynn Pike as friends and to watch him do his work. And you know what? He got kicked off of Genesis on Hanoi Joyce Riley's program on Genesis radio network, the one that Alex Jones was on. They let him know who they were because Ted was on there being interviewed by Hanoi Joyce, and then he was talking about the Jews and the hate crime bill and all. And finally, at the break, on the commercial break, Ted Anderson gets on the line, and he says, "We're gonna have to end this interview. We support Zionism here." Okay. Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah. And that's interesting because it was about 10 years ago when I just happened to watch ABC News just for a moment. And Peter Jennings comes on and he says, ABC has purchased Genesis Communications Network, and we want to welcome Genesis to the family. So that's why Alex Jones just looked like the mainstream news, didn't he? I mean, come on, if it looks like a duck, acts like a duck, walks like a duck, must be a duck, right? That's right. And so most people have trouble figuring this stuff out. He used to be a comedian, actually. What was that comedian's name? Who pretended to die, and then they changed Alex Jones's voice, and he starts talking like this. But he was, I was having an aluminum moment now. I can't remember so much that I should, off the top of my head. Bill Hicks, thank you, Shelley. Bill Hicks, yeah. Bill Hicks was the CIA operative. Typically, comedians are very often CIA. Do you ever wonder how, like, when you watch that thing, what's that talent? Well, we got talent. Britain's got talent, and America's got talent. And they got these people up there. They're going to vote them in or vote them out. Right to the next round. And have you ever see those magicians do those magic tricks? And it's like, how do they do that, right? How? Well, they're Freemasons. Okay, how do they do it? They got to entertain you. And so they all arrange it behind the scenes, and it's all acting. They're all actors, ladies and gentlemen. There's no magic. There's no magic. There's very little magic about it, You got to realize that secret societies are running the show. The Jews are running the media. Okay? They have been. They used to be vaudeville. They used to be in, on the, those amphitheaters down in Greece and, the culture. This thing, and it goes back to Nicomedia in Turkey, right at the crossroads between East and West and the Silk Road, and Nico. Look what's right in between the name Nicomedia, comedy, right in the middle of Nicomedia. Nico means secret. Nicomedia so means secret media, and it's comedy. It's all a joke. It's the big show. Oh, it's all on you, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, one big show. But if you can read the Ace of Wars, if you can know the words, if you can know the tricks, if you can know the game, if you know who's really running the show, they got no clothes. It's sweet. It's so. I mean, I never woke up one day and said, hey, I'm going to figure out how the world really operates, and I didn't do that. I was just wanting to study scriptures and transcend the world. And then when I got stuck in an 18-wheeler, found out I'm listening to talk radio for a year, then I figured out, man, something's really wrong here. Yeah, and then I get involved, and then next thing I know, then I realize I'm reading their code because I was studied ancient history and studied diction and the ancient Aeshavors, didn't even know they were called Aeshavors at the time, and that came late, just of the last year, actually, or last couple years, and so then I learned the rest of the story. So I plowed. I was a researcher, a journalist, and a translator and a symbologist. All these things that you never wanted to be, but somehow it just happened. And then the next thing you know, you're interpreting the great mysteries of life and blowing your mind, and people don't get it, and they think that Desert's been smoking a little too much, and because they can't wrap their mind around. They can't wrap their mind about how the world really operates. And thank you, Shelley, very much. Beautiful. Um, yeah, and Aeshavor's words. You could actually put take the parentheses, put it in front of words, and put an S in the parentheses. That would be better because the words are swords. Words are swords, so you can put the paren in front of the words, and put the S in a paren in the beginning, and then people get the picture. The Aeshavors are swords, and of course that's the logo, and got the light on the book. That's really nice graphic. Thank you. And we're gonna plow today. We're gonna plow some fields, okay, and try to make it a better world in our own personal arena, because we can't change the world, but we can change our paradigm. We can change the dynamic of where we go and what happens to us. If we can save ourselves, then we might be able to save somebody else, right? You can't save the world, but maybe we could save one or two or three or five people. That's worth going for, because as it says in the scriptures, you can't be saved without trying to save other people, right? That's, in other words, and then the other axiom is of Yeshua, that you confess me before Ashan, you confess me before others, I will confess you before my Father. So we have to make the confession of our tradition that we follow, and we are serving. Then we're serving. It doesn't matter how much you know or how proficient you feel or how what's lacking, because it's the effort that counts. Yeshua knows. Some of us, he says, he gives only a penny. Other people, he gives them a talent. A talent was able to buy like 500 slaves. A talent was the biggest coin in ancient time. And little did I know the meaning of talent until I'm laying on a concrete slab, looking up at a concrete ceiling, and say, how did I get here? And then all of a sudden I realized what the talent was. Jeez, how did I miss that? The talent is what you do. The gift that you've been given, and so for me, having been a total introvert, I developed communication as a political activist, and then and because I kept getting offered wanting to be interviewed, and then finally I realized, well, I rolled the talent over into then talking about the forbidden history and what they didn't want us to know, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and so oh geez, I did my workout today, and I got this lower back pain really getting me. I got to get a pillow, I think. I got to do one thing. Okay, Shelley, let's go to our song, if we could, please. I got to try to regroup here, and I got to take something to help out this extreme lower back issue I got at the moment for some reason. And okay, don't forget, you're tuned in right here to Forbidden History Live. You can call in also. We take calls. We're here to serve, and we've got some information we're going to share with you about the big lie, who was Adam. But first, we're going to do symbols, the dictionary of all scriptures and myths, and then we'll be in it. Okay, we may even do some words when we come back first. Okay, so glad you're here. Where else do you want to be than talking about the stuff of life, right? And transcending the grand illusion, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dezert-Owl. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
but it doesn't show. How can I contain this anguish and this pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order.
The New World Order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes of curiosity. Dust in the wind. All they are is dust in the wind. Same old song, just a drop of water in the sea. All we do crumbles to the ground, though we refuse to see. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Oh,
Geez, I'm sorry. I didn't unmute. Okay, forgive me. I'm there. Okay, so yeah, I just what was saying for the last a minute. And, thank you, Shelley. Yogeneer. Okay, she saved me. Um, I was just actually saying welcome to a new listener. I see we have Just Love, and I noticed that her name was Sarah. It's things going up now, so I didn't uh, uh, see where it is. Oh, there's Sarah Bright, I guess. So Sarah, good to have you. And I was suggesting everyone go and subscribe to her channel, and it's good to have new listeners popping in. I was curious how you heard about us. If you got us on the algorithm on the right hand side as a live broadcast, Just Love, or if you found us on another channel, or just curious. Always trying to figure out how this thing is working, because we literally seem to have no algorithm at all, and don't bring anybody in from. Oh, it's Tanya. Okay, Tanya. Okay, good to have you, Tanya. So yeah, and we're back. Okay, we're back. Was there a question up there? Let me see. I thought I saw my name in all capital letters there. Dezert-Owl. Oh, okay. Thank you, Lynn. Just letting you know to call in. And so we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons, ladies and gentlemen. And it's been a interesting roller coaster on planet Earth. And okay, Debbie Price and another channel. Really? Okay, well, that's great. I don't even know who Debbie Price is, but that's fantastic. Other people are listening, and I guess they're not coming on the chat, but they're actually talking about us. Well, that's fantastic. We're going somewhere where nobody else is going. Tanya, apparently, we're down the rabbit hole, and it feels like we're further down than anybody's ever gone before, because we're dealing with the grand illusion, the grand conspiracy, and we've been robbed. I assume. Okay, let me ask you: Have you heard our broadcast before, or are you actually listening for the first time? Because sometimes, I'm willing to give a primer, for somebody coming in new, because I don't want you totally, out in left field. Like, in other words, we talk about the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, and this is your first time. Okay, so the Indo-Germanic mother tongue is that which was breathed into Hadam. And so when we talk about words, you'll hear us transliterate. You'll see all the friends here are transliterating at the same time with me. Some of them have been following for a year now. I started officially with my latest presentation, June 21st, 2018. And if you went to the Forbidden History Series, 4 words, the Forbidden History Series, then start on the premiere edition June 21st, and I just unloaded, okay? And I said I don't care anymore. I'm going to talk about things that nobody else is talking about, that I've been kind of like keeping inside, because it's like, how can people relate to the truth, when the truth is an opposite of the lie, and the lie is predominant. Everybody's been mind controlled and brainwashed in a psychopathic world, and they say, don't give me the truth, just give me the fiction. I love the fiction. The fiction is so much nicer. Can you just give me the fiction, please? And so when people hear the truth, then they've literally got it. They've got an adjustment to make somewhere. You're stoked. Great presentation so far. Okay, well, hopefully you've been with us from the beginning. But yeah, you got a little catch up to do. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some words and show you the original thought in these words, because word itself is a shavor. Shelley, put that graphic back up. You perfected that new graphic now, and so that's a good opener right there. In the beginning, our scriptures say, in the beginning was the word. Wait a minute, was? Or in the Greek, in the beginning was the logo. Was? Wait a minute, no. In the beginning is the word. But the word is not the correct word, because it's a corruption. And the D is the prime letter for death and destruction and doom and darkness and danger and discord and all the negatives. You can see it. And wonderful. I'm so glad to hear. And so you notice if you put an S in front of it, though, you get sword. And so if the Greek, it says logo, well then, okay, I know what a logo is. Even though nobody's talking about it, a logo is a symbol. So the question is, if in the beginning is the symbol, what is the symbol? Well, now when we put the S on word, we get sword. Could it be the flaming sword that points in every direction? Is the great symbol of light? It has to be the sun, right? And so we talk about the sun here, and we because it is relevant because everything came out of the light, and so there's in the duality of an aspect of creation of light. Well, the great Father of light is beyond the sun, but the sun is the great logo, and all of the our planets, the moons came out as children of the sun, you see, and that's why they go around the sun, because they're nursing on the breast of the mother light, the mother star. Okay, and so nobody's talking like this, from this metaphysical, metaphorical standpoint. Yeah, so let there be Zorain, because that was the original word for light. So in the beginning, then. It is what before the letter A is on that word Shavor up there. It was the Shavor. I saw the Shavor part, and I said, "Wait a minute, no, the word, because you changed the W to a V, and you dropped the D, and then because the D is the corruption, then you got Vor, and then I realized it was Shavor, the royalty in front of it. The royal Shah is royal, just like the Shah of Iran." That's where it's preserved in the Persian, and that's the primordial Aramaic that's still over there as well. And then so the Shavor. So in the beginning is the Shavor, and then you hear in the word Shavor, for which is word. In the beginning is the Shavor, and it is the word. It is the shower. It is the savior. You can see the word Shavor is savior. It is the sower. That's the word sower. So when we go back to the primordial, then all these, you can see all these other words came out of it. It's one word: savior, shower, sword, and word. All of these things are in there, and so this is the beauty behind going back to original, what was breathed into Hadam, and this is why we don't hear about it in elementary school or anywhere. It's unless you do your legwork, you won't even hear about the Indo-Germanic mother tongue. I got all the dictionaries. I got stacks of dictionaries, and I'm plowing through all this stuff. Aramaic, yeah, it is Aramaic, but Aramaic is a corruption also. They abbreviated all the words outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators. See, they even call it what they do, like right in our face, and run by the Jesuit Curii. They put the cure in your eye. So the Aramaic is correctly Archai Malik. Malik is the original word they supplemented for angel, okay, and it's not angel. Angel is Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Saxons. So just like the Jews put themselves in our scriptures, when it was really Israel, and the Jews are not Israel, their name came up. The word Jew didn't exist until 1,000 years ago. The word Egypt didn't exist till about 350 years ago, 400 years ago. Okay, it's the grand conspiracy. There's a bunch of people running our world, pulling all the strings, and having fun with us, the goyim, and so we've got to do some legwork in order to be able to unravel the mystery. Just like they took the word evangelin, it was the evangelon out of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and evangelion meant the star message of enlightenment. That's what we wanted, was the star message of enlightenment. It's all about a star. It's all about the sun. And but then they switch it out and they put the word gospel there, and they're telling you right in your face, go spell, fool, and you can't do it. Go spell. Go figure these words out. You ain't gonna do it, And they changed all the tenses, all the genders. They've changed they've done the total hatchet job on our scriptures, and people are just quoting it, loving it, eating yum yum, eat it up, and don't get it. They don't get it. So they got us on the merry-go-round of deception, and to be set free. Well, the bottom line is the truth is not a part of any lie. So we got to put all the lies on the table. We got to identify all the lies, and then we'll be able to see clearly. You see, so this is where we're going and where we're at. It's been a lifetime of prep for this. I've been in the wilderness and coming out now after 40 years of prep. Okay, I started ancient history at age 14, and so this is you've heard this before from other channels, but I want to freshen up. Okay, well, I've not heard this before from other channels. I'd like to know which one they are. Because I'm telling you, there's some people are trying. In other words, this is why we've got some other translations from independent sources. They are really attempting. Jeffrey Daughter? No, not heard of him. Not heard of him. Okay, so interesting. Maybe you can share with me on the side, or where we can go, or put it in the chat, one or the other. Not the chat, but down where you put your comments below. Okay, and so I'll give a few words, and then we'll get into the symbols. Because we talk about symbols, and we talk about I have not heard of Global Witness. No, and Moses. So Moses is Moeshan. Moeshan. Moses is a corruption, and when you see the is or s's, then it's Well, I've been hanging out on YouTube, but it's one of those things where it's not popped up because the names don't ring a bell. Okay, but thank you. I appreciate your your input there. Was that Tina? Sorry, you got to go back up now. Tanya with an I, no Y. Oh, it's Tanya. Okay, Tanya. Very good. Thank you. And so Moeshan, okay, and there's the word Aisha again. Just taking a note. And so Moses, means to be drawn out of the water, but it is the cosmic waters, okay? The cosmic waters, and so the Moeshan, and so so it means the mother's royal eye in the harvest. So that's An is with an A at the other end, but it's a silent A, so you can say An, but we can also pronounce it Anna. Moeshan, it means the royal eye, the mother's royal eye of the harvest. What is the mother's royal eye of the harvest? The very universe itself. It's the harvesting ground of the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit, you see. And so this is how we transliterate then. Once we know the root forms, the primal root forms, we can then transliterate them into modern diction, you see. And so that's what we do. Just like another one here is Elijah. Elijah, and it said at the end of time, Elijah would come. And it didn't mean that John the Baptist, who was correctly Yolgenun, the Avavatezer, that's the way it would be in the Indo-Germanic, but it is John the Baptist. But then it says that when we see Elijah come, but it's correctly, because these are corruptions. L-E-L is correctly O-O-L. Now you can see sun and moon and the symbol of time, right? Ul. O-O-L, sun and moon, and the L is the symbol of time. It's also an obelisk, right? And but the symbol of light, like illuminated, the L is right there when you say illuminated. And up on the screen. Okay, what are you asking for? Global Witness has similar. Yeah, well, we're gonna. I don't know specifically what you're wanting on the screen. Okay, Tanya, so if you can clarify, then we can see if we got something. Okay, so Elijah then is Uleyal. Uleyal, and so we brought it back to primitive root, prime root, and so it means to see the light that goes round. To see the light that goes round. Okay, what more correctly is the enlightenment. The enlightenment that goes round. That's more correct. To see the enlightenment that goes round. So what is the enlightenment? Well, they said that Yalganun, the Avavatezer, John the Baptist, he spoke just like Yeshua, that there was nothing. Oh, you're taking notes. Okay, good. And when you say words and definitions, well, we put up a dictionary if you want to put a sample of the dictionary up, Shelley, so if people can see it, that's fine, because we're not into our main story here with Adam, but this would be a good time to share the dictionary with some new friends that are coming in. And so to see the light, the enlightenment that goes round, okay, uleyal. And we do, by the way, we do have a dictionary made available. Any size donation. We have 2 dictionaries, the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary and the Original Thought Dictionary, which came later as I perfected the style of how I was going to do this. And then we have also the Book of Wisdom, and by Joseph of Arimathea, the great uncle of Yeshua, found in Britain in the Colbrin. and some other things as well. A sample of the original gospel work that we're doing. So any size donation. If you don't have the funny money, we will send it to you anyway. Okay, so just ask, and we're happy to to help out here, because this is the truth not being a part of any lie. We know that it's important to transcend this world with the truth. You're not going to do it with a lie. Okay, so Elijah. Okay, the Enlightenment. Where's the Enlightenment? But so Yeshua said, of all the men born of women, there's none greater than John the Baptist, or I'm having a senior moment, an aluminum moment. Forgive me. That's not senior because I'm not that old. An aluminum moment. And thank you for that, Lynn. And so, he said there's none greater. But John the Baptist didn't do any miracles. That was what I was going to say. And but Yeshua did. But see, both of them were enlightened. And what they were ushering in was the golden age of light, the Enlightenment. And they and therefore those who received the great breath of the wind and fire, a.k.a. the Holy Spirit, then became enlightened as well, an enlightened creature above the earth, walking on water in the metaphor, you see, in the clouds, on the Mount Zevon, not Zion, but Zevon. And so we don't see the Enlightenment, we don't see the Enlightenment today, because people are just in one of the 600 different flavors of Christianity. I call Baskin Robbins. What flavor do you want? You could have it the way you like it. Any way you like it, you can have your Christianity, you see, but that's not the way it is. As it said, there's only one Lord, one faith, one baptism, to use the corrupted terminology. And so there's only one. And so we have to define what the one that is. And the one that is not a part of any lie. So that's how we get separated. We separate from the lies. And then we find that all these man-made traditions are just that. It's just it's a great show. They're up on stage, bobbing back and forth, splashing their hands around, people getting hypnotized. And and so one more. We'll do maybe one or two more words here. So then Sharfan. So Sharfan is the word. I'll type it in here. And Sharfan is, let's go with. Okay, here we go. Servant. SERVANT is serpent, SERPENT, but serpent is correctly CERPAN. I didn't do that one right. Hang on. Okay, it's I got to get my drawing board going, because then you can be watching me and not anticipating what I'm sending here, and then Sharfan, Serpan, pan, two ends. Okay, and then let me back up here. Okay, and we'll get it. And then and I'll to put that there, and then SHARPHANN, and correctly Sharfan. Okay, so you can see the evolution from servant to serpent to serpan to Sharfan. Okay, that's how it. Actually, the K is correct. There is no C. C is a cyber code. It's a corruption. The K is original, but the K has an H. And so it's and S has an H, so it's shul. Actually, the correct word for school is shul, SHOOL. Okay, and then the Scottish Rite put the corrupt lunar C, because the S is the symbol of light, and so the Scottish Rite put in SCHOOL, so we wouldn't get the picture. You see that it was shul, and that's the prime word for Yah. Shul, which we abbreviate simply for everybody as Yah. Yeshua. You see, and so we can go way back. Yal Shulam Va is the original name for who we call Jesus, but we know that that we lose people, so we use Yeshua, which is like the middle ground. Where we know that you could spell it as Joshua, right? Joshua. but we know that there's no J. J only came 200 years ago. This is how they've messed with our minds and messed with our scriptures and destroyed original truth. So we've got to know the code. We've got to go back to original root form, and then all of a sudden it opens up like a flower, and we can get the light. You see, so it's a major work, ladies and gentlemen. And then I'll just one more here. Register. Register is interesting because the government always wants you to register, and it's a Regis star, and the Regis star, it means the royal star. The Regis is the royal, and hey Kip, good to have you, and you're happy and busy. Okay, there's a symbol. I got it. Okay, he's happy, smiling, and he's a kumquat also, I guess. Yeah, those are funny little happies that they have versus the other ones, right? Okay, so but royal star then is also, we see in register, then we also see regester. So it's like it's saying it's a joke. It's the jester, right? He's in the king's court, dancing on the floor, doing somersaults, making jokes, ha ha ha, And so register is a joke, because they didn't tell you that once you register it with them, guess what? You gave over power and authority to another. And same thing we did with the babies when we became the informant, and we handed over with our signature power and control over to another. That's what we did. We handed over control of our family to another in the Great Deception. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, we're in trouble on planet Earth because we can't read. And so that's the first thing we need to do, is learn how to read. And so what we do is we also get into symbols. We talk about the symbols because letters are symbols, and they changed the name from symbols to letters in the 1900s. And now the question is, what's a letter? Is it a full page with a bunch of symbols on it, or is it the one little symbol? And we know it's a big page with all symbols on it. That's the letter. You write a letter to somebody, but then they changed the word from symbol to letter, so that we wouldn't, they confuse the mind. That's the whole idea, is to confuse the mind. They've done a pretty good job, I would say, haven't you? Wouldn't you say that? We don't know what we mean when we say what we mean. We don't mean what we say when we say what we mean. Well, Confucius said, what did he say? That if the words are not correct, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, so it'll be a poor paraphrase, but if the words are not correct, then what we say is not what we mean. And if what we say is not what we mean, then all patterns of truth will be dissolved, and all law, and all history, and all science, and all religion, and everything will go astray. And then the people will stand around helpless and idle, wondering what to do, and then everything will fall apart. So this matters absolutely above everything else. You see? That's absolutely what. So the first meaning of a word is the original meaning of a word, and it's still there. What they've done is they've changed our eshavors, they've changed our words. Okay. So Yeshua, I'm so appreciative. Yes. I need a new pair of glasses. I got to look at that. Okay. Yeehaw. Oh, yeehaw. Okay. I thought you were saying Yeshua. Because out of the so here it is. Out of the Babylonian Talmud, like, how the Messianic movement, they like to use Yeshua. So Yeshua means, may his name be blotted out forever. It's a curse. You see, so the Messianic movement, who want to come out of the phony, Jewish cabal of false Israel, and they want to become true followers of the way, and then they adopt it. Then the leaders that are controlling the translation of the Messianic movement, and those leaders, they're all following Babylonian Talmud. They are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they're using the word Yeshua, and it means in the Babylonian Talmud, may his name be blotted out forever. But if that ain't bad enough, the word Jesus in the Indo-Germanic, okay, because I always associated Jesus with Zeus, the healing Zeus. And they're following Greek mythology, and so they've played a little trick on us. Not too bad, But then when I started studying the Indo-Germanic more deeply, I then found out what Zeus means, because it's not, Zeus is not Jesus. They're clearly not the same word. And Zeus, thank you, Lynn. She jumped me. Okay, it is, yeah, ye Zeus, Ye for you, and literally it means you pig snout. Okay, that's the controllers. That's the pig Latin. That's the pig Latin that they gave to us. You see, ladies and gentlemen, that they played a trick on us. They put the word gospel above Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John when it was evangelion, and they said go spell. Are we getting the picture yet? Because we got to get pictures. Confucius also said, "I hear and I forget, but if I hear, I see, if I hear, I forget, but if I see, if I can get the picture, I can remember." Okay? Yeah, and well, not only that, but Christ is Krishna. Christ is Krishna, you see, because just like Adonai, and they took out the sacred name Yahweh, they put in the word Adonai after they came back from Babylon with the Babylonian Talmud, said, well, the sacred name's too sacred and we can't, let people pronounce it. But, but no, they hated Yahweh. They hate the one. They hate the great father of light. You see, because they're occultists. So they take out Yahweh, they put in Adonai. And then when I was doing my first dictionary, the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary in 2011, and I said, okay, what's the anagram? I want to spell it backwards and see if it reveals anything. And I couldn't believe it. It's India, you see? And so the Vatican's being run by the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthood. Brahmin is sovereign. They're claiming to be the sovereigns, the priesthood running our world. It's just an amazing show that they've and game they've played on us, ladies and gentlemen. We are their. That's why they said America's the great experiment. They're experimenting on us, right? Freedom is not an experiment. It never was our nation, right? The Illuminati founded America May 1st, 2 months before the July 4th, 1776. Who can read the symbolism? Signs and symbols rule the world. All right. So let's get into the book of symbols. And now, so I've done the primer now. Hope to help some of the new listeners out. And we're on caduceus, okay? So caduceus, and great book. Meaning of Aeshavors, words, swords. And we can even do / and logo, okay? Because it is about the logo and the great symbol. And the great symbol is the great symbol of light. And it's also the word fascia. The word face is abbreviated. I said they abbreviate the words. You are looking with your fascia, and there's the word Asia. You see, Asia's right there, and it's the face. The face of the sun is the fascia of the sun, and that's where the word, you heard it here first, fasciae. The word fasciae comes from. You see, the fasciae on both sides of the speaker podium in Washington D.C. in the Capitol, and the fasciae is the symbol of fascism, of corporate control, of police state control. And so they're telling you that they're fascists, but yet it means with the force of the sun, because the word goes back to fascia, and it means with the power of the sun. Sure, they got quite a bit of power in their jackboots and in their guns, don't they, in their cannons? Yeah. So there's where the word fascism comes from. So I've shared with you where the word sovereignty comes from. It's the Zavram. We find it in the word Brahmin. I could never imagine that I would actually, Yeshua would reveal to me the ultimate, root of where all these terms come from. It's a mind blower to go back to the source and be enlightened, ladies and gentlemen, because it's about the enlightenment. Okay, so we're going to deal with the word caduceus. I think Shelley got a copy of the caduceus. I got to get a little pillow for my back. I'm dealing with a little back issue today. May have pushed it too hard. Hang on a minute. Okay. Well, it's always exciting to get new listeners coming in. Do share with your friends, ladies and gentlemen, won't you? Because they're gonna it's no longer you in the tube. You know what I mean? They took the you out of you know what I'm saying, tube. And so therefore it's no longer our tube anymore. And so we know they're going to pull our plug, because we leave no stone unturned and no turn unstoned. And so we know we're here for a limited time. And so if you wanted to know, you're getting it. And so also you have some friends that want to figure stuff out, and we're here to serve. We got two other channels right now. We got the Cosmic Essence on Ninja Cat 111. Ninja has got a second channel, and we're going to slice and cut all of these presentations into terminology on words or symbols or scriptures or discussion, and also the alphabet. So we got like 5 categories, and we'll dump them in each different category, and you can do a word search and then find the particular topic that you're looking for and get up to speed real quick, because some people don't have time to listen to the 3-hour broadcast, and at the same time, then Shelley has put up another channel for me, which is the Farrar Fenton Bible Daily Read, and I'm going to read out of the most important translation in modern time, the Farrar Fenton Bible. And I don't know if you have a copy of that, a picture of that, Shelley, just to show real quick. But the Farrar Fenton Bible, 1905, and Farrar Fenton read Hebrew, nothing but the Hebrew and Greek, for 40 years. In the mid 1800s, when he was in university, he already saw the problem. He knew there was a problem. He didn't know the answer yet, so he just read nothing but the most ancient documents. There are no originals, but he read the most oldest documents he could find of the Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic. No doubt he checked that out too. The Hebrew is a loser because that's controlled by the Zionism, the world dominant people who hate our guts. So they're not going to give us the truth. But so anyway, after 40 years of reading, because he said, I don't want to read English because I don't want to be influenced by mistake, dogma, politics, all of the possible variables that could be incorrect, let alone conspiracy, right? And so then he does his transliteration, and he's destroyed all of them. Okay, literally, Farrar Fenton out of the Greek and Hebrew, but George Lambsa is the most important one out of the Aramaic. So there's really 2, that we need to take note of. George Lambsa, and when you compare Lambsa and Fenton, you go further back than you could ever do. You got to compare 2 different versions. So Just Love, you're saying there's a lady, Doreen Zolam, that counts words with numbers and has me I can't read that happy face. It's not a happy face, I don't think. But this is understandable. Oh, okay, got you confused a little bit. Right. Yeah, well, the numbers are an important science for sure, because it's a very esoteric science, because it's not necessary for what we're attempting to do here. If I had the time, I would add up the numerical value, of the Yochelleg or the words that I have in the dictionary. But then the question is also, what system do I use? Because there's there's about 5 or 6 different systems of gematria. So which one? I'd probably use the most common one, the simplest. It's where, the first 10 letters are 1 through 10, then it's 100, 200, 300, and then up to 800. Then, one is also A is also 1 or 1,000. That's the basic system. But it's such a science, and yet it's no longer imperative for today, because all the words have been destroyed. If we want to know how the occultic are working, it's beautiful for finding those Freemasons everywhere, because they always use the same code words, that add up to the same numbers, like 33 or 18 and stuff like that. So yeah, got it. Okay, so caduceus, right? A wand with 2 serpents. So and I'm just going to jump in real quick and qualify this, because we've been told that this is the medical staff, but that's another lie, because this symbol actually goes back to the ancient Aryan Vimanas, when they built the first anti-gravity Mercury vortex engines that fly up through the air and just kind of hover there and make no sound, and they shine like stars in the sky, and people think they come from other planets when they actually come from down here. And this is what the Watchers gave us, this all it is sciences, and the Watchers are the ones we've just been talking about the last week. We rolled in from who the Watchers were into who Adam is, and today's our last part of the series. And so this is actually the caduceus, actually the flight medical staff. The flight staff. It's, you look at the wings. Okay, the wings are telling you that it is the symbol of flight. The serpent is taken off. There's the vortex, right? The vortex going round. It is the symbol of that the pilots used that were flying the anti-gravity craft way back then, and they converted it into the medical staff. The symbol in the middle of the staff, of course, is the sun, the bright star that shines, and then the wings and the serpents are the yin yang and but also you can see the vortex that is being created with the serpent, the spinning of the Mercury vortex engine that then lifts off. So, I mean, to create that, that mechanical stuff way back then, and then what happened to all of the equipment, like they say in Meitzar, Egypt, all these machines that were used to create, to cut the stone and everything. I figured they're all buried in the mountains of Tibet and the Caucasus Mountains. That's very likely. The priesthood, the Tibetan priesthood, are the guardians. The priesthood are the guardians of the ancient way. But Hitler came down. You can find a YouTube where Hitler came down in the 1930s with his officers, and they said that we're your Aryan brothers, and we were, you're told to give us the turbine engine technology and the anti-gravity technology, and that's what Nazi Germany was doing, and they got it from the ancient Bhagwan Gandhi Rashish Hashish, who's running the world, in a loincloth from a cave. That's my joke, but the joke is it's really the Aryan Brahmin priesthood, and so that's why Hitler had a swastika on the on their flag, the symbol of the light particle spinning down, the filfat, the fan, the power that I showed you in the word sherfan, serpent. The fan is the filfat and the light particles, and so we find the swastika where we find it on the covers of the 4 volumes of the Vedic books. You see, and the Egyptians used pictographs, which is interesting. How far we've been babbled. That's right, we've been babbled all the way. If you got a baby, it's a child of Babylon. I'm sorry to tell you, you don't want to have babies. You want to have maybe offspring, but keep it to yourself. Don't give it away to Babylon. All right, so caduceus, a wand with 2 serpents twined round it, surmounted by 2 small wings or a winged helmet. That's the symbol also we find with Mercury. And a rational, here and continuing, and a rational and historical explanation is the supposed intervention of Mercury. Mercury's the messenger. That's that messenger and Mercury vortex engine. They go around the world real quick, and also known as Hermes. Okay, and therefore also symbolic of who is the messenger anyway. That's Yeshua. You see, he's the one, the little star representing the big star in the metaphor. And so Mercury, in a flight between 2 serpents, who thereupon curled themselves round his wand. For the Romans, the caduceus served as a symbol of ethical equilibrium and of perfect conduct. The wand represents power, and the 2 snakes wisdom, and the wings diligence, and we could add speed. And the helmet is an emblem of lofty thoughts. Today, the caduceus is the insignia of the Catholic bishop in the Ukraine. Interesting. The caduceus also signifies the integration of the 4 elements, the wand corresponding to earth, the wings to air, the serpents to fire and water, by analogy with the undulating movement of the waves and flames. This symbol is very ancient and is to be found, for example, in India, engraved upon stone tablets called Naga Kals. Well, there the Naga is the serpent, and the Kals is like the symbol of time. The Kal, like they talk about Kali Yuga or the calendar. You see, the Kal. So the Naga Kal is the and Naga is a abbreviation for navigation. Navigation. You see, it's right in there, and there's the word nave, the navy, in there, because you ride the serpent when you're on the waters. You're riding the serpent. And a kind of votive offering place at the entrance to temples. That's where they find those stone tablets. Heinrich Zimmer traces the caduceus back to Mesopotamia, detecting in it the design of the sacrificial cup of King Gudea of Lagash, 2600 BC. Zimmer even goes so far as to state that the symbol probably dates back beyond this period, for the Mesopotamians considered it the intertwining serpents as a symbol of the god who cures an illness. Okay, well, that's because the serpent, venom is also medicinal, and in fact, it apparently is the secret of longevity that allowed them to live to be near 1,000 years old. that nobody talks about. A meaning which passed into Greek culture and is still preserved in an emblem of our day. According to esoteric Buddhism, the wand of the caduceus corresponds to the axis of the world, and the serpent refers to the force called Kundalini, which is Tantra's teaching. In Tantra's teaching, sleeps coiled up at the base of the backbone, a symbol of the evolutive power of pure energy. Schneider maintains that the two S shapes of the serpents correspond to illness and convalescence. In reality, that defines the essence of the caduceus in the nature and meaning, not so much of in its individual elements as of the composite whole. The precise symmetrical and bilateral arrangement as the balance of Libra, or in the triunity of heraldry, a shield between two supporters, is always expressive of the same idea of active equilibrium of opposite forces balancing one another in such a way as to create a higher static form. In the caduceus, this balanced duality is twice stated. In the serpents, we're almost done here, in the serpents and in the wings, thereby emphasizing that supreme state of strength and self-control, and consequently of health, which can be achieved both on the lower plane of the instincts, symbolized by the serpents, and on the higher level of the spirit, represented by the wings. So also then the serpents could represent also representing the sun and moon, the symbols of time, and therefore the two columns of Jachin and Boaz, and also therefore the twin towers that came down. The serpents fell, and up came a singular serpent within the new building that they built. So anyway, interesting. And then maybe one more real short one, camel, which is correctly gamel, and traditionally considered. Oh, and by the way, backwards the anagram is Lamech. That's interesting there, and that's where we got the word commerce from, Lamech for lame economy. And so traditionally considered camel, in curious relation with the dragon. That's maybe because it had a train, of camels. The train of camels would then be creating the illusion of a dragon. And with winged serpents, for according to the Zohar, the serpent in the Ganun, the garden, was a kind of flying camel. Well, this is, of course, a false illusion, because we just talked about this in the last program and spilled the beans on all of this. Similar illusions are to be found in the Persian Zend Avesta. And so there we go, ladies and gentlemen, with a little bit of symbolism. And we're going to take a quick break. And then when we get back, we're going to go into the dictionary of all scriptures and myths. And I have an interesting read there today. And then the next part will be on the big lie, who Adam really was, ladies and gentlemen. And so let's see if we can. Well, I'll let Shelley pick out a song. Okay, we've got a variety. We're trying to get a variety of songs coming in that also have a little bit of thoughtfulness behind it, and we're in trouble on planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen, but the truth can set us free. So glad you tuned in. Want to welcome all of our new listeners, and we'll be right back, right here on Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here, and somebody's got to do it, and I'm just happy to be a part of all this. Okay, so don't go away.
I've been waiting for something to happen, for a week or a month or a year, with the blood and the ink of the headlines and the sound of the crowd in my ear. You might ask what it takes to remember, when you know that you've seen it before, where a government lies to a people and a country is drifting to war. There's a shadow on the faces of the men who sent the guns to the wars that are fought in places where their business interest runs. On the radio, talk shows, and the TV, you hear one thing again and again, how the USA stands for freedom, and we come to the aid of a friend. But who are the ones that we call our friends? These governments killing their own, or the people who finally can't take anymore, and they pick up a gun or a brick or a stone, and there are lights in the balance. There are people under fire. There are children in the cans. And there is blood on the wire. There's a shadow on the faces of the men who fan the flame of the wars that are fought in places where we can't even say the names. They sell us the president the same way they sell us our clothes and our cars. They sell us everything from youth to religion. At the same time they sell us our wars. I wanna know who the men in the shadows are. I wanna hear somebody asking them why. They can be counted on to tell us who our enemies are, but they're never the ones to fight and to die. And there are lights in the balance. There are people on the fire. There are children at the cans. And there is blood on the wire.
Okay, and we're going to have Ninja Cat 111 calling in right now. Ninja, pick up that phone, and let's hear from you.
Hello, Ninja.
G'day. I was wondering if I would push the right button.
Yeah, I was muted. Hold on, stand by. Let me get Desert, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Ninja Cat 111. I guess I was cut off. Did I get cut off on my diatribe? That's okay. Anybody there?
Yes. G'day.
Okay, very good. Way to go. We got 2 in a row now. Shelley, we got a good track record going here. Okay. Ninja.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Yo Engineer. I'd rather say Yo Engineer. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. How's it going, Desert? I have questions.
Okay, well, fire away. We'll see where it takes us. Okay, we'll never know. We often learn new things as we go along here. Like, the light bulb goes off. The light goes off. There it is. See on the screen.
Yeah.
It just went off. I didn't even have to touch it, and it went off.
No,
All right.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. We'll talk about one that I've been thinking about all day. G'day, Kip. G'day, family. Just love. It's really good to have you here. I can see that you're getting it, and it's amazing. And Lynn, and I love you guys. Anyway, yeah, one that I've been thinking about today. I feel I don't feel right anymore when I type in the words "I love you" to anybody. Like I spell it different ways when I type it in. Like I spell you. Most of the time, I spell you YOO now. But
Right.
the
And
word
that's correct.
love.
That's actually phonetically correct.
Yeah, the word
because
love.
the U is a cyber code.
Yeah.
Give me a chance to jump in because
Okay,
we
sorry.
want to help people out.
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay.
The word love. You were talking about it. I don't know, the last live stream. I don't know. Talking about backwards is evolve.
Right. Right.
And I don't know where else you went from there, but I don't feel right saying.
Okay.
I'm watching the chat.
let me jump in. All right. The
Yeah,
word
sorry.
lava. Yeah. When you make a point, go slow in case I want to jump in because I can. That you're going too quick and I can't. Say anything. So the point is that love, as you remembered, you didn't forget. That's really great because it's evolve backwards. Yeah. Obviously, the anagram just needs a little help. It's not a perfect reversal, but you can see the word evolve is in there, and so the whole idea is that there's only one true love, and that comes from above.
Yeah.
Notice that the word love and above have a similar meaning, right? It's just changed one letter, right? Love is from above, and so the OVE is the prime suffix, not suffix, but suffix, and it is we even see it in the word dove, and so we know dove is symbolic of peace, and so when we begin to put on the divine love, which is correctly travain love, the tree on the tree on the vine. In the three, sun, earth, and moon, three hold things together, the Father, Son, Spirit, Mother, Father, Son, all of these aspects. Then we put on the travain love. We then begin, finally, to evolve, because we can't evolve without putting on the true love, not the selfish love that says, gimme, 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 want, but the kind that says, how do I serve you, Father? How do I serve and put on the light that is yours? So that's when we evolve. It's an evolutionary process. I know that the mainstream Christians even hate, the word evolution, but everything is in evolution, whether it's nature itself or our own psyche. Everything evolves in this great mystery. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, thank you. You just helped me. You reminded me of the parallel and the duality, how it gets twisted and turned upside down and used in a negative way. And that's what I was trying to sort out in my head. And also, I don't know, I'm not very good at pronouncing this one, but I want to keep practicing because it's a beautiful word, and you say it so beautifully. I was also thinking of Elohim, is that it? Elohim?
Okay, well, right. The corrupt word is Elohim, which most people have heard, but they don't know how to connect it. It basically is the original word. They supplemented it with the word God, and they made one generic word meaning, whatever God means to them. But see, because the words Yahweh, mispronounced as Yahweh, Yahweh, is the supreme. And then Elohim, which correctly is Ulav Haim, where that's where the word love is found. The Ulav Haim is the active agent within the universe. And so Yeshua is Ulav Haim, but he is also Yahweh. Yahweh, at the same time. He is the Father and the Son. But the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, all are Elohim in the fact that they are lights within the darkness. And so we can be Elohim or Ulafheim if we become enlightened, because man fell from the light into the darkness. So he's potential Elohim or potential Ulafheim, but again, he has to put on that divine love to have the Ulafheim. And then the AYM is the plural, so it means Ulafheim means the enlightened I and the love of the many. You know, so that's a literal sense right there. There's more that can be said about it, you see, but.
That's beautiful, and we seem to be going backwards in the statement. But I, shouldn't that be A?
Yeah, because the I is a corruption. So I is, I'll put it in there. Okay, would be correctly, probably that. See, because it means the I. That's the original word for I. The prime root is the A, but in the sense of your I. Because it's versus E-Y-E. See, that's the corruption. That's the E. As we talk about, the E supplemented the A. And so A, you don't have an I, you have an A, because that's at the beginning of the alphabet. It's the first letter. That's where you start looking, and you start looking at and with your A's. You see, because the A was the dominant vowel, but now it became the E, and so it's your A. You see with your A. And that's the projection of light. Look at it, it's like a carrot, right? It projects from the 0 point and goes out. It's obviously a symbol of projection, and therefore not the letter E. And then so Kip, he's got a question real quick. True, and if you can, and if you even mention ascension, a biblical truth, you get shunned. Okay. Very good, Kip. Yeah. Everybody's beaming here. You know, everybody gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, so good, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, and so I'm going to give. So that's what it means then when you give somebody your attention. You just said, "See you later, buddy." Okay, I guess so. Thank you. Another word. All right, go ahead, Ninja. Back to you.
Yeah. So when I refer to myself, I'm sorry, I'm paying attention to every single word I say at the moment. When I refer to myself, I say I'm saying it now. I say I, and that is wrong. That is completely wrong. That's wrong when I say I.
Well, right, but we're still speaking a common diction that's common to our world. So we're going to use the common diction in our general communication, but when we're talking about our spiritual, these Eshavors reveal the mystery. They reveal something. Yeah. So we have to. So it was Maximus in circa 400 A.D., who was a philosopher, but also a Roman Caesar. It was, in fact, we saw him in the movie Gladiator. That old man who died right at the beginning of the movie, who was Caesar, was Maximus, and he was a philosopher, and we could see that in the way they portrayed him in the movie. But he said that in the future, man will have to be bilingual. But my contention is, well, he was almost right, but he was wrong, because actually we have to be trilingual, okay? Because we have to know the common diction, we have to know the legal diction, which is a shell game and a racket.
Yep.
And so if you're going to play poker, you better know the game. And then we have to know the spiritual diction, or the original diction, what I call the original thought. So we have 3 different arenas we've got to communicate in order to survive this planet. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right. And another example would be like what I was going to say, when Kip, pointed out the word shun in that word, so here's another example similar to that, right? The word agreement, right? Ag means to move away, as in like navigate. Aggression. That's like agriculture, to plow the field, to cut it with a knife, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody says that they're in agreement, they literally just said they moved away from the paper. So it's an opposite again.
Opposite, yeah.
Yeah, right. You moved
Yeah.
away from the paper. So the paper says agreement on it. You signed it, but that's why, like when you get the mortgage, right? How come it's a unilateral contract? How come you're the only one signing on the paper? How come nobody in the bank is willing to put their pen to the paper, right? Because it's a fraud. That's why, because they'd be liable. And so you're the only one signing it. You're the fool. And then they came back later on and said, hey, we're taking the house back. They gave you nothing but an illusion, and then they got title to real property, and they steal it from you. The greatest show on earth, the shell game.
Yes, it is. Before I move on to the next one, I want to ask you how you are.
How you're right there in my head. Like before we had
Isn't
that
it great? You
and
got
now
the
it's
Aussie
like
accent
you're right on top
there.
of me. You're right
Yeah.
here. I can't get over it.
Surround sound,
You sound
Aussie.
like you're in the same room. Right down from Australia. Right here. All right.
It's so cool.
Do I sound better? Do I sound better like
yes,
this?
you do.
Without,
You sound
all right.
perfect. Yeah,
You're using a headset?
I am.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
That makes us a couple heads. Please continue.
Oh, I missed that.
That's what we called ourselves when we were in the hippie days. We were heads, whatever that meant. Heads. Yeah. Oh, there's another head over there. Look at that.
So we're
Yeah.
a couple of heads. Is that what
I can
you said?
tell he's a head because he's got long hair. Okay, go ahead.
So- Desert, you never fail. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kip is saying here she goes now. She's not going to stop.
Sorry. Oh dear. It's the only time I get to laugh, giggle, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we can help you out.
Thanks.
Good medicine. That's right. Go ahead.
Yes. Now I'm lost. Let me think. Oh yeah. I was actually, trying to be serious. And ask you how you're going with your back, because you weren't feeling, your back wasn't doing very well.
I put some something topically on my back, some cream that I had in the medicine chest, and I took something internally that was waiting for me. So yeah, I'm doing better, thank you. And I still got a smaller pillow, so it all worked out. Thank you. I didn't. If that pain kept up, I wouldn't have been able to do the program. I just I overstretched today. I'm on a workout program every day now, and so got to stay alive for the big finale. I want to be looking good, feeling good when the finale happens, so I can maybe die healthy. I don't know, whatever. Wherever we're going, it's not looking good. I hope everybody out there listened to Dane Wigington yesterday. That Dane gives us $100 million presentation. It's on the tip of the needle. His life is on the line. He at least needs our prayers. We try to share that information on our broadcast to pass through, so everybody can know. Not that we can stop the destruction that's occurring, the death of our planet, but I think the good people deserve to know. That's why we pass
awareness.
the word.
Yeah, awareness. That's all. Yeah.
All right.
I'm still trying to find. I can't get back to where I was writing it in the chat. I don't think. I'm scrolling. I apologise. I know we are live. I did take some notes. When you were talking about caduceus with the medical symbol with the snakes on the screen.
Yeah.
Desert.
Mm-hmm.
The word Medusa got stuck in my head, and so I wrote it in the chat and said that it sounds like Medusa. And when I was looking at it, I separated it, I halved it, and into MED, med for medical, and USA, as in USA,
Okay.
as in the US, and it's a medical symbol with snakes on it, and Medusa has snakes on her head. This is just all the sort of stuff I see in my head.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's sort of like the many serpents on the head. It's implying, sort of just like the the multiple personality type thing, because our ego is a serpent, and so that could be an aspect, because the many faces on people. You know, they give you one face, then you find out they got another face, and you know, when you get stabbed in the back, and you know, that type of thing. So it's I just looked up in that one for Medusa. It wasn't in that particular one. Let me see if we got it in here. Hang on. LM okay, and I'm spelling it. Maybe if I spelled it wrong, I'm spelling it MAD. Is that correct? Is that how you spell it?
MED for medical. Medusa. Medusa is spelled MEDUSA,
Medusa?
and that's I typed it in the chat, and that's when I saw it. So I halved it, and you were talking about the medical symbol with the snakes on it, and I just saw all these connections going crazy in my head. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me do it again, because I thought it was MAD. You know, phonetics. See, you know, you can't find it. That's why English is so messed up, because phonetically it's Medusa, not Medusa, but Medusa.
Yeah.
You see, and
I googled it before I wrote it, so that's how it's spelled. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not in this one anyway. So let me look on this one. ME. Okay, take me a second. MED, MEMA, Maypole. Menher. No, interesting that it's not in either of these books. That doesn't make sense. But okay, yeah. So anyway, that's something we've seen in the movies. You know, in the occultic movies or the fantasies. You know, it's
the one that turns people to stone when you look at it in the eyes.
Okay.
Medusa.
Okay.
The one,
Right.
snakes on the head, and and if you look, if I don't want to say her, it's a female though. Snakes on the head. If you look at it in the eyes, it turns you to stone, turns you into a statue. That's the story. Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
Haven't you heard? Like, I only know of it from movies and things mostly. But Just Love just said it in the chat. Greek mythology. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my Smith's Greek mythology right over there. Greek and Roman mythology. From the 1800s. I just have to pull it out. But you know, we don't need to do that. Everybody's familiar. We described it. So okay.
All good.
Okay. So did we cover your list, or you got anything else?
There's another one, but I don't know how important it is. I just made an anagram of the word make, MAKE, into meek, MEAK.
All right.
Yeah, okay. I don't know.
Well, you can make things out of words that aren't necessarily going to help in the narrative. You know, in other words, just like playing the Scrabble game. You know, you can make other words out of words, but what we're looking for is the relative term within a word that is like, in other words, very often it's an opposite. It's an opposite inflection, or it's another relative term that is relative to the word. So I don't see that. Make is not a good enough, a word to be building on. So it's, but yeah.
I just got thinking about the word make because we use it a lot. Like, we make things.
Right. Right. Create. So the word, what I just saw, I'm doing it in my head. But if we realize that the K is more correct for, and the C is a corruption, then you out of the word make, you can get the came as something came because you made it. There's something new on the scene. It came into our purview because we've now made it. So yeah, that's possible. Cool. That's probably the way that works.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's all, I think.
Okay.
For tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Oh, and real quick, because I've got to go to. I now remember why I wanted you to call me. She called me earlier today, and I finally couldn't remember. And I had another.
Write it down.
No, it's the aluminum moment. That's aluminum. I think it's affecting everybody because I've noticed it.
It's affecting me. I know it is.
Yeah. So I need to go to the food bank on Monday. So can we do Wednesday again? Because I need to do that. I go 3 times this month.
Yeah, that works better for me because I've had a couple of days of wanting, chomping at the bit, wanting to prepare a lot more for both channels, and haven't been able to finish anything, so that works.
Okay.
So
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Well, good. It's good for both of us then. And
Yeah.
I hope I can go. I haven't confirmed it yet, but if not, then we still need to do it. You know, if we're not going. Okay. Unless you'd rather do Wednesday. No, that's okay. We'll do that. All right. Look at.
Can we do Wednesday? Because then that'll
You
give
need
us
to do it no
time
matter
to
what.
coordinate.
I got
That'll
you.
give us time to coordinate
Absolutely.
between each other with the time zones and everything to get
right.
together and actually organise the new channel.
Right. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Enough.
Okay.
Yep. We're good.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. I will let you get on with the program. It's amazing, Desert. It gets more amazing each time, and I love it.
Right, and it keeps opening up. It's an infinite,
Yes, it does.
infinite discovery. That's what's so beautiful about it. So we're going to get now into the dictionary of symbols and myths, and then right after that, ta-da, we're going to have the big lie. Who was Adam? The conclusion to this great legacy, ladies and gentlemen. You got to listen to the other 4 broadcasts. We typically have it at the end, so just check it out, okay? And we got a little bit of legwork to do, but we're Ninja will be clipping it, and Shelley will be helping in that part with this particular presentation because it's so important. I mean, we're breaking the news, okay?
We're making history.
Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Report: Adam is the bright and shining one, and that's what they didn't want you to know. He was the one that was the most enlightened of all people because he named all things. Okay, and then they covered the whole story, just made him out to be some naked dumb guy, and that's not the story at all. We have it right here. You've got to go back and start at the beginning of the big lie, the true nature of Adam, because it will blow your mind. You'll realize the scam that we've been scammed with. It's all priesthood. They're running the show. It's the grand illusion. But it is possible to know. That's the good news, you see, because it's right in there. Once you can I don't even want to say the word construct now. Restructure. And when you can restructure the original Echavors, then look out, okay? Because it's right in the surface. In other words, it was Waddle. As I said, I got these 2 books from Waddle now from the 1800s, and he did a dictionary on the Sumerian, which now they're trying to make it out to be Nibiru and and Anunnaki and all this stuff because they don't want us to get the picture that they were Aryans and that was a relative civilization to Meitzar, falsely called Egypt. But he said that the words we're using today are 70% Sumerian, which means Aramaic, which means Indo-Germanic. And this has been my contention all along. I'm so grateful for a second witness. Okay, so that's the reason I can back engineer it. That's the reason Yeshua was able to enlighten me as to the science of what is going on, because it is an exact science. There are original root forms. It is within our modern day, what's falsely called the Phoenician alphabet, all capital letters on the American driver's license. That is the code of the original script, ladies and gentlemen, and we reveal it here. So you'll learn to read over a certain period of time. Like Ninja, she can't stop reading words now. She couldn't read them before, but now she's interpreting them. She's bringing them on and new discoveries, and she's going to have her own program real soon, I guess. So look out. All right.
I feel it more than I like. It's taken me a year it's taken me a whole year to start asking you questions about the words because I felt so unfamiliar with it, but I could feel that it was true. So yeah, it's a work. It really is.
Yeah.
And doing the live streams and speaking with you on the live streams helps it open up for me because as you know, I don't get the time that I want to study and read. So this is my study, and yeah, so I've been I've been running on feelings, relying on my gut, and and that has helped. Like I don't know how to say it, but yeah, it's all just really, really starting to open up now. So thank you for again, your patience with getting all this going. It's taken a while, but
Yeah.
we're doing it. Yeah.
We're expanding. We're going to cover more ground because the time is short, and we got to put it all on the table. So that's what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ninja, thank you so much for calling in, and for being there, and the check is in the mail. Okay, one of these days it'll be there. I know it will. All right. Making our program that much better. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Love you guys in the chat, and love you always, Desert. And thank you, Yo Engineer.
All right. We're gonna drop off, and that was Ninja Cat 111.
Will I hang up?
I'll hang up.
Yeah, hang up. And she'll be on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and then on Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time with Ninja Cat 111 and the Forbidden History Chronicles. And did we get her? Are you there, Shelley?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Wait, we did it. That was quick. We're getting really good at this. All right. So Kip had a question. He said, "Why aren't the books of Enoch in the scriptures, the Shultres, the Shulfar? The word for Bible is Shulfar. That's the soul fire that we receive from far away. The soul fire. The Shulfar is the ram's horn. It's a scribe, and it's a book. How about that? And they were not. Who decided they were not inspired? Well, there was probably Gandhi Rashish of Hashish, and he was, I'm just having a little fun there. But basically, it's the priesthood, okay? The priesthood, right? It's like the Vatican stole the Alexandrian library. It wasn't all burned by the Muslims. That's the scapegoat. All those books were taken over across the big water and put into the 25 miles of book shelving. 25 miles of book shelving underneath the Vatican. I mean, the place is, only, you know what I mean? It's like only a square mile by itself, and yet you got 25 miles of book shelving down there, and But so let's ask the question: Is it authoritative? And the answer would be yes, of course it is, because Jude quotes Enoch, and behold, he comes with 10,000s of his saints to render justice upon all those who are, opposed to him. That's a paraphrase. So you see, so Jude, the brother of Yeshua, is quoting Enoch. So that's the authority for Enoch right there. Boom, out the gate. And so they take it away because too much truth. I mean, it was talking about the end of time when at the Great Tribulation when Yeshua would come, and that was 2,000 years ago. The whole idea of this Great Tribulation has been misconstrued because if you read the pseudepigraphal writings, it's 2 volumes, about 60, near 70 books. Okay, in there with more works of Isaiah, other works of Ezra. And when you read all these books, you find out the Great Tribulation, and including the works of the Maccabees, the fourth Maccabees. The story of the 8 children and their father and their mother that were tortured by Antiochus Epiphanes. All of these stories are relevant because that was the Great Tribulation back then. Okay, and at the end of time, then the one who would save mankind would come. At the end of time was 2,000 years ago. Even in your King James, in Hebrews, was it chapter 9:26? I think it said. Let me get it. Where's let me find Lamsa. I'll grab it out of Lamsa. Okay, just to prove it, I get it for the record. Hebrews. There's Titus. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 26. And if these things were not so, then he, speaking of Yeshua, would have been obligated to suffer many times from the very beginning of the world. But now at the end of the world, which means the end of time, yes, the book of Hebrews. At the end of time, okay, so the end of the world is the end of time, only once by his sacrifice. But now at the end of the world, only once by his sacrifice did he offer himself to abolish blindness. Sin is an ambiguous term, an abstract term for blindness, okay? So he came to abolish blindness so we could see, right? That's why he healed more blind people than anybody else to tell us we were blind. And so it was called the end of the world. So the end of the world happened 2,000 years ago, the end of an age, and what the way it was. You see, in the old covenant, because now Yeshua ushered in the golden age of light. Okay, the golden age of light, the Enlightenment. You see, and so therefore the blinders came off. The letter I represents the blind, the eye that we talked about a little while ago, and so first and second Enoch out of the pseudepigrapha are valid writings of Enoch. In fact, some of the words of Noah are in there, and then the third Enoch that's in the pseudepigrapha is purely a rabbinical, worthless rag, okay, and not worth giving your time to it, because it is an interpolation of a rabbinical late coming false Israel tradition. Okay, so we do have to be scholars and be able to really make sense out of it. It's a challenge at first. We're here to help everybody get up to speed. Yeshua freely gave it to me, and I want to freely give it to all of you out there. Okay, because it's about life and death. You can't be a part of a lie and be a part of the truth. Okay, you can't have a little truth and a little lie. That's what the religions of this world has. 600 versions of Christianity. Baskin Robbins, name your flavor. I think I want peppermint candy. I think I'll have some double trouble bubble and or mint chocolate. No, you can only have the pure white. The pure white is without the evidence of the true tradition is that it has a white robe and without spots, meaning that they live pure, that they have put off the things of the world. And you're welcome, Kip, and good to have you. And so it's about the white robe, right? So if we see in these religions out there, they keep saying, you're always going to fail, you're always going to sin, you're always going to do wrong, you can't live up to the standard, just forget about it, don't even try. When yet Yeshua said, be ye therefore perfect, for even your Father in heaven is perfect. Behold, we speak wisdom among those who are perfect. He has perfected forever those who are set aside. A perfect man offends not in word and deed. There's that dirty word perfection. Boy, better wash my mouth out with soap, huh? Okay, because they hate it. What's on the drop of a hat? What will anybody say? Well, nobody's perfect. Well, okay, but wait a minute. It said that Abraham was perfect, Noah was perfect, Enoch was perfect. David wasn't. No, David was a little, had a little problem. And but why did he love David so much? Because he was trying to tell us that if we're in the state like David was, doing stupid stuff, that was very wrong. Yet he still loves us because he wants to deliver us from stupidity. He wants to deliver us from blindness. He wants to set us free from ourself. He wants us to crush the serpent beneath our feet. Well, okay, Just Love, very good. Yeah. What brand? Okay, never mind. All righty. Good humor. All right, so we're in the, we're going to have to keep moving. We're just going to be a long program. Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myth. This was so relevant. I just thought I'd share it. But you know what? The clock is ticking. Houston, the clock is ticking. All right, so let's do it. So I just thought this was a good read. We can go through it quick. All right, Adati, because I saw something here, and I need more light. Wait a minute. Let me try this one. Okay, that helped. Adeti. So we're in. So what we do is we read some definitions from other, all the spiritual cultures, because by comparing their thinking and what they saw from the ancient time, if it hasn't been too corrupted by priesthood, we might see some parallels, and it might help us to complete the picture. Just like it was when I heard the Native American tradition of the mythology of the blood clot boy being the first man, then blood clot, there it is, fiery magma. Yeah. That makes sense, because I knew that Adam wasn't made from red dirt, and it was the fiery magma, and because that's where the love is. Lava is love. That's where the word love comes from, the lava. Why? Because the infinite volumes that the Yahweh brings forth, just endless. The resource that he provides, the lava, is the symbol of the flow, the blood of the earth. We are the blood of the earth. Okay, and so So Adati, so a symbol of the primordial space on the higher planes in relation to the manifestation of the self. That's Aditya. Okay, so this is a corrupted word, but I can see the primal root in here. What's interesting is I see the word because coming up next, it reveals itself right here in Aditi. So the goddess, so now we know it's a goddess, Aditi, the infinite expanses. Whoa, the infinite expanses? Well, that's outer space. So now all of a sudden when I read that, I said, wait a minute, Aditi, yeah, there it is. It is Aphrodite. It is the Aphrodite. And so you see, that's why in the Vatican, when we look above, right at the center of the cross, where they have their mass for all the masses, then we see these black angels, right? These black angels are up there, and it's like, okay, how come they're black? I thought we were talking about light. Even if you're phony illuminated, you're supposed to be putting on the white, but no, they got the black, and it's because those black angels up there, and Aphrodite herself is the first woman. The first woman was the void. Okay, it was the void. It was the emptiness of space before the light came in. The seed was planted by the Father in the void, and then there was Zorain, the let there be light, and the light ignited. So that's why you see the word void and naive, right? Naive is like, okay, it means empty, right? Naive. So the void of darkness. So this is again why the woman gets the bad rap. We know that women have great intuition, and they're the real care. They hold the torch for taking care of the family. So it's not, to denigrate, the role of the woman. But this is the metaphysics. We're talking metaphysics of nature. This is why the woman is smaller than man, okay? Because man represents the spirit and woman represents creation. She gets the bad rap. But, it was Adam who was deceiving Eve. Eve got the bad rap, and it was Adam who was lying to her, the serpent. That serpent, Naga, saying, "Come on, baby, if we do this thing, we won't die. We'll be able to reproduce ourselves, and we'll be creators, just like the great Elohim, and we'll be able to create seed without number, like the stars of heaven." That's the story. You see, they changed that narrative real well. Okay, so let's continue reading. Okay, and so it's this form of the word that I'm going into. It's the word form. So Adati, the infinite expanses, conceived. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold it right there. I think that was a good opener for it, but I can tell what's happening. My voice is getting weaker, and the time is ticking. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go right to it, all right? We're going to go to the meat and potatoes. We'll save this for, we won't have a program on Monday, but on Tuesday, we can pick it up on that, all right? Let's just do it, because I'll tell you what, Shelley, give me a break, another one of those songs, and then we'll go right into Adam. Okay, I just need to recharge, and then we'll be on with the big lie, who Adam really was, the concluding narrative coming out of Bullinger, who was my second witness. Now I was astonished to find out that Bullinger got it, and but he had to use certain code words, because if he said it the way it really was, they wouldn't have published his work. So I can see and read it for myself. And we're going to make lemonade out of lemons. Coming right back, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned in to Forbidden History Live. Shh, it's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Somebody's got to do it, and that's why we're here. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
you think your plans were secret when you left your office last night? You closed the door behind you. Were you walking in your sleep, or were you just too tired to notice all the watchful eyes upon you? There's the man who does the maintenance and the maid who cleans the carpets in the hall. And then the guard down in the lobby through a hidden TV camera saw it all. I presume you knew his habits and your random acts and patterns, and I learned you're not a nice guy. And you're full of deceptions, your secret side of the motives up and down. This little birdie told me who was talking to a fly on the wall. So when you think nobody's looking out the eye that passes by you, when you think nobody's listening, I'm a listener, I'm the resistor. Pretends to be your brother, or a member of the order who's a secret Sunday soldier from an underground militia. I might even be your butler or your chauffeur who just opened your car door. I'm the butcher, I'm the baker, I'm your future troublemaker. I'm the guy that used to date your little sister. I'm the resistor. Now you can spin your little stories till nobody will believe you anymore. And then you can plot your deadly schemes and say it isn't what it means, but let me tell you what it means. This means war.
Yes, and we must resist those lies, ladies and gentlemen. And be resistors, right? Resistors and maybe even transistors, and be transformed, be transformers, and change that energy, that negative, all that negativity out there into something positive. I guess that's why Yeshua said to love our enemies. You know, it didn't mean to love what they do, but it means to, give them a cup of water when they're suffering, and maybe they'll be ashamed and feel stupid. And I've seen it happen. Okay, I've seen my story of deliverance in my big Odyssey 20 years ago. The good guys came forward and shamed all those criminals right in their own departments. So you never know until you make a stand. And people can see you and read you for who you really are. Even though you have a funny name at times, and I never knew that Dezert-Owl. When I took on, the scripture says in Proverbs 2 times, a good name is to be chosen over the wealth of the world, right? So I take it literally, and then there's another scripture in Revelation says that you will receive a new name that nobody can name, and of course that has multiple meaning. It doesn't, it also means like Yeshua, right? He'll give us a name and nobody else can name, and so it's Yeshua. People mainstream Christians can't relate to that either. They love Jesus in the sense of, I don't want to learn anything else. I don't have to learn anything. Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know. And so they accept whatever dogma, the dogma. This is good dogma. I love this dogma. Yeah, I can eat this every day. And yet it's amazing. It's just amazing that that the Enlightenment, there is no enlightenment out there. It's dogma. And in other words, my old-time classic statement finally became about 10 years ago to, after dealing with all this insanity was, the things that you follow, are these the things that have been handed to you by tradition, or are these things that have been revealed to you by Yeshua? Because the things that I follow today are not the dogma that I've received. I found that the dogma was 180 degrees in the other direction. And the things that I follow, just like the example of the Great Tribulation. 2,000 years ago, the Great Tribulation happened. What greater tribulation could there be than when you're occupied by Greeks that are torturing your people, throwing the babies off the cliff walls, killing the mothers, trying to get you to eat pig swine, pork, and you're being nailed to crosses then by the next group that come in, the Roman Empire, and thousands of you being nailed up along the sides of the highway. What greater tribulation could there be? It was because Israel was over, the 10 tribes were over in 730 BC, and then in 500 BC approximate, then the smaller tribe of Judah and Benjamin and the rest of the Levites were banished into Babylon. So what kind of a tribulation could there be than to lose your entire nation, your entire culture, your library, everything, And so from that point on was the Great Tribulation. Read the history, okay? And then Jerusalem is over officially. Officially, the pseudo-Israel, the false Israel, is officially over in 68 and 70 AD in the greatest slaughter in the history of mankind. Near 2 million people are stuck behind the walls in Jerusalem because all the ones all around the Mediterranean came for the holiday. Then they find out they're being sieged upon by Rome, and they're all locked in. And for 2 years, they're starving to death. And anybody that tried to come out and escape, they had their bodies sliced open for their jewelry, And so the Valley of Gehenna just oozed with blood. 1 million people were in the piled up in that garbage dump. And so that was the greatest slaughter in the history of mankind. You never hear about it. Never hear about it. No, they don't make movies about it. They don't talk about it. Wonder why? Because it's Nico Media. Because the comedy group doesn't want anybody to know about that, because that's supposed to be their party that they didn't want to go to. And it's quite. You just read Eusebius. A lot of the narrative is in Eusebius. Not a lot, but enough. And also just do a Google search, okay? So anyway, here we are on the serpent of Ganesha. Ganesha is the original word for Genesis. How come they abbreviated the words? How come they altered these words? They put them on the sacred altar, and they do a little ritual, and then presto magico, the word is changed. Okay, so we're picking it up now. We're on the last stretch, and we're going to read Bullinger here and see if we can't make lemonade out of the lemons they gave us. So I'm astonished that Bullinger gets it. Okay. So the Hebrew word rendered serpent in Genesis 3:1 is Nakash, from the root Nakash, to shine, meaning to shine. Okay, so that's the serpent. So why did the Pharaoh wear a serpent on his headdress? Well, because he was sitting on the sun throne, and the cobra represents the sun. And so the cobra is the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its tail. The cobra means my co-support, because bra, as the women know, is a support. The bra is support. And so the cobra means my co-support. And that's the light. The light, okay? The sun is our co-support. We cannot live without the sun, without the light. And so this naga represents the sun then. The serpent represents the sun in the primordial aspect, in the primary. We are serpents. The sun is a serpent. The atom is a serpent. The earth is a serpent. The ocean is a serpent. Everything is a serpent in the metaphor, okay? The alphabet is a serpent, okay? And so to shine means the shining one. So the shining one, okay? So is it not true? Is it not possible that it's true that if Adam was taken up to the throne of the sun, the atom, the Garden of Atoms, which is falsely called Eden, is the Garden of Atoms, where everything came out of the light, back to the source, to the very root where everything came, and that then he would be shining in the star himself with Yeshua, while Yeshua made all things on earth, because he was the first made from the fiery magma, that then he was given the authority to name all things, because the gnosis was breathed into his nostrils. And so wouldn't he be shining then? You know, he would be shining. He's bright. Shining means bright. You know, you know something. What was breathed into him was he was made into a counterpart, look-alike of Yeshua in the quality of his nature. And that's why Thomas, which is correctly Toma, was called, you know, they kept saying, well, he's the twin. But it wasn't that he was the twin. He represents the duplicate, because the word Toma, put the A in front of Toma and you get the atom. So we're getting the story from the 12 followers. They each were given a special name by Yeshua to tell a story. Like Kephe, not Peter, it was Kephe, and Kephe means the fiery keys of the woman. Oh yeah, so Kephe becomes Peter because he then represents the Vatican, who is holding the fiery keys of the woman. What woman? The Fae, creation, you know? So this is a deep study, and people on the surface want to, you know, claim as soon as they get their King James Bible that they now know everything, and they didn't have to study anything. But, you know, magical presto, they now have a religion, and therefore now they know it all, but they've never done any legwork to prove it out. You know, they don't want to have to do that. They want their preacher to tell them for 45 minutes on Sunday that everything's okay, just listen to me, and I'm going to put you under the spell. Now watch my hands. I'm waving my hands up in the air. Now you're under the spell. And now go home, everybody. Put the money in the till first. And now we'll see you next Sunday. Okay? Thank you very much. And so to shine. Okay. Hence, in Chaldee, it means brass or copper, because it is shining. Hence also the word Neushtan, a piece of brass on 2 Kings 1 or 18:4. And in the same way, Saraf in Isaiah 6:2 means burning one. Remember, it was the brass serpent that was put up on the cross in the wilderness. They were told if you could see the serpent, you would live. And you could live. And because the serpents mentioned in Numbers 21 were burning, in the poison of their bite, they were called seraphs. But when the Yahweh said to Moses, make you a fiery serpent, Numbers 21:8, he said, make you a seraph. And in obeying, it probably was a sharaf, because the A is missing, probably in front, the a sharaf, that most likely, they abbreviated our words. We gotta take a look at it, and then we got to know the meaning of these words. The a sharaf would be the royal eye of the light's creation. The royal eye of the light's creation would be a sharaf. And in obeying this command, he read the he read in verse 9, Moses made a nakash of brass. That's the serpent. The nakash, but the nakash is an abbreviation of Navigesha Tor. Navigesha Tor. Because it's on a cross. Remember, the cross is like the Celtic cross, a symbol of navigation. It's a symbol of a sword, a symbol of navigation, and a symbol of the tree of life. That's why the T is in front of the Z in the diction. That's like in Sun Tzu, okay? All of these things have to be taken into consideration. Nakash is thus used as being interchangeable with Seraph. Now, Sarah, and there's the word Sarah, actually Sarah, because she was the royal eye of creation. Also, Seraph is a form of the word Sarah. Now, if Seraph is used of a serpent because its bite, and we talked about that in the last program, how she was representing the serpent, bringing forth the Aisha form, the root form Aisha, coming down, into Aisha Ma'ul, then to Aisha Yak, and then to Aisha Yal, and then to Aisha Re'ul, Israel. You see, the word was passed down like a serpent, and that's how we have to see and read it for ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so if now the Sharaf is used of a serpent because its bite was burning, and is also used of a celestial or spirit being, a burning one, so to speak. And that's why also, by the way, when we have the picture of the three sons, or the three brothers going into the fire in Babylon, and they came out, they lived, the fire didn't hurt them. Same with Abraham, who was correctly Zavramhaim in Babylon, when he was 50 years old, and he got Nimrod's face, and he put him in the fire, and he was there 3 days. So you got 3 and 3, both times in the fire in Babylon. It was about 3. And it was symbolic of the age of light. When we are tried by fire, we are to be tried by fire as well, but it's an invisible fire. But yet the fire, that fact that they were in the fire and it did not hurt them, is the evidence of the fact that you could also then be in the throne of the sun and not hurt, because fire is Elohim that is here to serve Yahweh. It is obviously he's superior to the fire and controls the fire. The fire is an illusion in the reality of what is going on within our universe. So there's an invisible fire that we are all being tried by if we are going to transcend. Okay, and it means also a test. That's another way of saying it. So why should the Nakash be used of a serpent? Because its appearance was shining, and be also used of a celestial or a spirit being as of a shining one, in reference to Adam, because that's what he was. Okay, indeed, a reference to the structure of Genesis 3. That's why he told her, don't you know, baby, that if we do this thing, that we will be like the great Elohim? Okay, he and I are buddies. Okay, yeah, I was up there all the time bringing forth everything on planet Earth and naming it when he was making it, Okay, so indeed, in reference to the structure of Genesis 3 on page 7, will show that the cherubim, which are similar celestial aspects as well of the last verse, Genesis 3:24, require a similar spirit being to correspond with them than the first verse. For the structure of the whole chapter is great introversion. And then here's the highlight. Okay, the Nakash, or the serpent who beguiled Keva, as it mentions it in 2 Corinthians 11:3, is spoken of as a royal messenger of light. Okay, the false narrative is angel, because that word is Anglo-Saxon. There's the angloing, the glow, the angle that glows, right? The angels, because they're the Aryans, they knew they were the true Aryans know that they're from Adam, and they know that he was the bright one, gave them the knowledge to dominate the world. That's why we get the Aryans as supposedly a superior group on Earth. They're the ones who are, seem to be dominant, and it's because they were the ones who enslaved the rest of mankind through the ancient Aryan watchers that fell. So just to qualify that again. So as a royal messenger of light in verse 14, that's why he's spoken of this way. The serpent, okay? The Nakash, a royal messenger of light. Well, let's ask the question, how many people were made? How many people were made in the beginning? I think there was only 2. Okay, and we know that snakes cannot talk, so it's got to be one of the two because we are the serpent. And to remind people, Shelley, that we're the serpent, you may want to give them a little graphic again, because if, as it says, I hear and I forget, but I see, I get the picture, and I remember. That's Confucius. Okay, so have we not in this a clear intimation that it was not a snake, but a glorious, shining creation? It must have been Adam because he was up there for all that time. Well, right. He named everything, and if he named everything, he must be pretty bright, right? Pretty bright, I would say so. He must know how. In order to name everything, you would have to first know how everything operates, right? I mean, this is where this knowledge came from. Of what all the journalistic archaeologists, they're all saying, it's like knowledge just came down like that. We go from primitive to these megalithic structures that we can't even build today, all around the world. And then they flew these anti-gravity Vimanas all around the world. How did that happen? It was the last race that came. The first made came last, and with it the knowledge of all the science of the universe, all the science and knowledge of free energy. And this is the knowledge that allowed for the modern day civilization to occur. Because the primitive peoples, the Neanderthal, Paracus, the African, the yellow, all of these could not do that. They were hunter-gatherers, and they lived in primitive ways. But the Aryan brought this sophisticated knowledge down from the light. That's why they were called the sun gods and the sky gods and the seed of the sun, which is what Yochelleg means, seed of the sun. But instead, the Aryans are now controlling the narrative again, want us to think that it's Anunnaki, and they're on the planet of Biru, just flying in every 35,000 years, picking up their mail and flying back out with a dead star. How are you going to fly on a dead star, right? Have life, So, see it for what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's not hard to see this. So continuing here, so have we not in this a clear intimation that it was not a snake, but a glorious shining being? And that other snake graphic is a good follow-up. Apparently an angel, a royal messenger, okay? But a glorious shining being and apparently a royal messenger. Well, the Aryan was supposed to come down with the message of who we really were, who we really are, that we are all a product of light, that we fell down into dense matter, into this matrix. And that the good news is that we can all identify with the one who made all things, and we can become the second born and go back to where we fell from. But instead, the Aryan, the first one, wanted that woman. He said, wow, look at this. Whoa, man, woman. And then he says, I know who you are. I named everything. I'm the one who names everything here, baby. Okay, you are the Aisha Faye. That's woman. He says, and Aisha Faye, and he says, you are the mother of all living. Well, if she's the mother of all living and she came last after him, wow, then she must represent the light, because the light is the mother star, the mother of all living. So she represented the sun. He knew that intuitively, and so he names her, okay, the Aisha Faye, which means the royal eye of the woman. She's the royal eye, and she's looking good. And so he wanted her, he's got all the biological makeup now, the hormones, and the idea that, wait a minute, we could be creators just like the other Elohim. He made everything, and I can make everything down here too. Wow, what an opportunity, And so, but you see, they changed the narrative and put the word serpent there when it didn't belong there, when it was correctly navigator, the word prophet. I've already gone over that part of it, so you go back and listen on the other side, and you'll the previous issues we've done. I'm going to try to move forward here because I got some reading to do, and I want to see recant what Bullinger was saying. So to whom so apparently this serpent was a royal messenger, according to Bullinger here, to whom Eve paid such great deference, acknowledging him that as one who seemed to possess superior knowledge. Superior, that's right, he was her superior, and she was naive, and who was evidently a being of a superior, not an inferior order, not a serpent, Can you imagine a little slimy snake crawling up and saying, "Oh, excuse me, but I want to tell you a few things. Do you have a moment?" Like snakes don't talk, ladies and gentlemen, right? This is nature and the nature of things. And so we need to find the true nature of this ordeal that's going on here. Moreover, and by the way, what happened right after they did this thing? I think she had a baby. Okay, it was called Cain. Okay, so moreover, in the description of the serpent as the king of Tyre, and then I gave that reference to Ezekiel 28. That was in the last. That was on the second program on the 4th of July. You'll hear that story. It is distinctly implied that the latter being was a superior of a supernatural order. Supernatural. That's right. I mean, you hang out in the sun for 3.5 billion years. I think you've got a little bit of supernatural going on. And but then he falls asleep, and his falling asleep is coming down to the lower garden. Most people don't get that there were two gardens. There was the garden of the atoms, the garden of light. Then down here is the lower garden, the garden of darkness. That's where we're in, ladies and gentlemen. Dense matter. Okay, so he was a supernatural order when he called. When he is also called the Cherub. The Cherub. Well, the Cherub, as we see, it's a very similar form like the word chariot and a car. And so it means the conveyance. He is conveying something here. Ezekiel 28, 14, 16. Read from the verses. I read all of that, okay? And I gave you the transliteration because it's been poorly done, 11 through 19. His presence in the atom, in the garden, of the Elohim, of the enlightened one, that the great Elohim, that's Yeshua, in the throne of the Son. Even at the end of Revelations, you see where it says he was seated in the throne of the Son. You think not? Let me show you. I'll go get it, okay? I'll do it because I'm trying to give you enough substance to really get the picture. That's what we got to do. We got to get the picture, okay? So in verse 19. Verse 19 in, chapter 19, verse 17 in Revelations. And I saw a royal messenger standing in the sun. Okay, well, who would that be? Because here it says, of course, in the corrupt version, it says angel. I saw an angel standing in the sun. Well, but angel is the Anglo-Saxon. They put their words in here. They took over our scriptures. So it would be Malik. It'd be royal messenger. And so let's read it again. And I saw a royal messenger standing in the sun. Well, maybe he was standing. Shelley, get that Ezekiel graphic with the Ancient of Days seated on the throne in the sun. That's a good graphic to show right now, right? So whether he was standing or sitting is irrelevant, because the bottom line is, it said that he was in the sun. He was in the sun because the sun is the source. And what did he say when he rose from the dead? All power on earth and in the universe, in the cosmos, has been given to me. Well, if you got all power, then isn't it possible that you got the power of a sun? The power of the sun, that your spirit is in the house of the sun, even though you're in all places and all things at all time. Okay? And he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the spirit birds that fly in the center of the sky, come and gather yourselves together for the great supper of Yahweh. You see, we are the spirit birds. We can't interpret metaphor or symbol, and we get stuck on the dogma. Eat it up, and whatever my preacher says, it's got to be true. But that they don't talk to you about the conspiracy to control our mind. That they don't interpret the words. They just say, "Don't mess with that King James version." Okay, it's a mind control book, and it was given to us by a Scottish Rite Freemason who wrote the Book of Beasts, homosexual King James I, formerly of Scotland, King James IV, and then his son Charles has his head cut off because his lamp was put out, and the Scripture says that if you serve Yeshua, that you will be endowed and enlightened and cared for to the third and fourth generation. But if you go against him, that your lamp will be put out, which means your seed line will be cut off. And King James the First of England, who gave us the King James Version, 1611, sounds like 911. If you reverse the 6, you get 911. 911. Woo! But if you mess with Yahweh and try to play tricks with his word, your lamp will be put out. And Charles had his head cut off, his son. meaning his seed line was cut off. So do you think he was in favor with Yahweh? I don't think so. But nobody can interpret these things, right? They just then they talk about the 50 scholars who gave us the King James Version. Well, wait a minute. I think the King James Version is 90% Tyndale. And that was just one guy. And they needed a clique of 50 people. And yet it's 90% Tyndale. Why did they need 50 people? And then say, oh, some of these guys pray 10 hours a day. They were so devout. Oh, let's bow down and worship them. I think it's the greatest show on earth, ladies and gentlemen. Just like Betsy Ross didn't make the American flag because it's a Jesuit flag. It's a slavery flag flown on the high seas that brought slaves over here by the millions, okay, or hundreds of thousands at least. I'm so sick of it, aren't you? I mean, I'm just so sick of it. Let me take a sip of my throat tonic here, and I can't get over what a world we have here. We're supposed to figure out all this craziness, right? We just couldn't be born here and get as the old classic goes. Can we go along to get along? Where are you getting all these letters from, Ninja? You're gonna have to tell me this on the side. I can't get over it. You're playing your own magic over there, and I don't even know where you're getting it from. You got the AE and the OE now. Mm-hmm. Lynn found it. What figures? All right, let me get back to the narrative here, okay? So his presence in the garden of the Elohim, okay? So somebody knows. Looking at this picture of Ezekiel, okay? Somebody knows. They're interpreting it correctly. Whoever the artist is telling us that the sun is a logo, but it also represents the throne. The center point from the beginning, from where everything came out of the light, okay? Everything came out. And so in the metaphor, in the symbol, because we know Yeshua is everywhere, Yahweh is everywhere, but in the symbolic nature, he's seated on the throne of the sun and he rules from there, okay? He rules from there and he's taking care of everything, giving us life. If he stopped ruling, the sun would go out. He's maintaining the entire cosmos. What a mind blower, huh? I'm telling you. Okay, and so it is also okay. So it is also clearly stated as well as his being perfect in beauty. Of course, the Aryan, the blue-eyed, blonde-haired, tall, white-skinned Aryan. He was beautiful, right? Especially with all that knowledge. I mean, the guy lived to be 1,000 years old, right? I mean, come on. They knew how to lengthen their lives by drinking the serpent venom. His being perfect in ways from the day he was created till iniquity was found in him. Well, now we're getting a clue. Okay, he was perfect until the inequity was found in him when he lied to his counterpart, his other half, and he says, "Oh, this ain't gonna kill us, baby. We can do this, okay? We can do this." And she said, "Wait a minute. I think Elohim said don't do this." He said, "No, we can do this. It's okay. Just trust me, baby." And that's really what happened. And she had a baby, all right? And so inequity was found in him, and as being lifted up because of his beauty, his pride, his ego, okay? Because he knew how everything worked. There's the culprit right there. And that's why they had to create a false narrative about Lucifer. And now in this Sumerian text that they're now controlling the narrative of, and they said, well, before it was Lucifer, it was actually king of Sumer, a king of Sumer. Okay, that's a new one. That's a new one. So they're mixing up the pot again. You see, they kind of keep mixing up the pot to keep us confused and diverted. But let's get back to ground zero, the light. Okay, these all compel the notion that Adam was the shining one, the Nakash, the navigator in Genesis 3, and especially because the following words could be addressed to him: "Thine heart was lifted up because of your beauty," because he was more beautiful than all the other races. The other races, we're different, but we know the Aryan has a special quality, right? I'm talking about specifically blonde hair, blue-eyed, white skin, not mixed with any other influence, okay? and you have corrupted your wisdom by reason of your brightness. You got caught up in your hair. That was the metaphor, symbolism of Absalom. Remember, Absalom was going to try to overthrow David, and so he gets on his mule and he's riding in a small forest, and he gets caught up in his beautiful long hair in the oak tree, and his mule keeps on going. The ass, he's riding an ass. The ass keeps on going, and he's stuck in the oak tree, and he's hanging there, and Joab comes by and he shoots him through with 3 darts. Okay, and so there's the story. He got hung up in his hair, telling us about the story of the Aryan race at the beginning with Adam. That was his problem. That's why they had Cain. They had Cain first. They got the fiery turmoil. Thy heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You had corrupted all your wisdom by reason of your brightness. I will cast you to the ground, and I will lay before you the kings, that they may see you as you really are. Even supposing that these things were spoken to, and of an exalted earthly being in the latter days, in Ezekiel 28, still the king of Azor. It says Tyr here, but Tyr is a cover for Azor. Tyr, it means what it says. They never pronounce it right. They say Tyre, but it's Tyr. It's the teardrop of land right there. It was a Phoenician enclave, and it was a tear into the Mediterranean Sea. Why? Because the Mediterranean Sea is the great flood, and they called the little land right there the tear, dropping off into the ocean, into the water. And it is not compared to be a being who is non-existent, perhaps. And the fact and circumstances which happened are not introduced into comparison. They're not comparing anything. There is more about the king of Tyr in Ezekiel 28 and 11:19 than was literally true of the prince of Tyr. The words can be comprehended only of the mightiest and most exalted supernatural being that the great Elohim ever created. Well, who were the first 2 that were made? Adam and Eve. Dictum for dictation, for naming all things, you see. And so he was the superior one. It's so simple, ladies and gentlemen. And this for the purpose of showing how great would also be his fall. For as high, because he was determined that he was going to fall. He had the makeup, he had the hormones, he had the serpent. He was the serpent, and so therefore it was given that he was going to fall, so that Yeshua could come down and save mankind, all of mankind, the blacks, the yellows, the brown, the Neanderthal, whoever wanted to could go back to the light, because we all fell from the light. It was the Aryan, who was the sky god, who came down from the throne of the sun, who was supposed to deliver the message of truth, of who we really are, why we are, when we are, and where we are. The history must be true to make the prophecy of any weight. Again, the word rendered subtle in Genesis 3:1, see note, means, well, here he says wise. So even Bullinger is saying subtle is actually not the correct term, but wise. But actually, I'm telling you, it means the serpent. Yeah, the star ram. It means star ram. That's what it was. The Avram. And then when I looked it up, I saw there it is. The V, add the V, and it's Avram, the star ram. Because in other words, he wasn't more subtle. He was the star ram, because he'd been up there. He was there involved with the creation of everything on earth. Then he comes down as a bright one with the light and the knowledge of how it all began. That's where the knowledge of free energy comes from, the knowledge to cut stones that we can't cut today, the knowledge to lift stones we can't lift. I'm reiterating this stuff over and over because I'm trying to hammer it home, ladies and gentlemen, And what time is it? 2:00? Okay, we've been on about 3 hours. I'm going to just go through my highlights here. I'm not going to read all of this, but let me just go through the highlights. And the word beast denotes a living being, and it's wrong to translate Zoa. There's a lot in here. I'm starting to lose my voice. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here it is. I'm moving over. And so the temptation of the first man, Adam, began with the question, Hath not God, had not the, it says God, but it's not God, okay? They replaced the word. I wonder why. It's great Elohim. Hath not the great Elohim breathed? Right? Asking a question. Has he not said? And then the second man, the Elohim from the sun, began with a similar question. If you be the seed of the sun, when Yeshua was tempted, right? If you're the Son of God, when he was in the wilderness, it was the same temptation. If you be such as one, okay. So, and then moving forward here, and his last ministerial words contained in a similar threefold reference to the written word in John 17. Okay, so I'll tell you. We're just we're at a deficit, ladies and gentlemen. A lack of, what did it say? That where there is no vision, the people perish. Where people perish for a lack of knowledge. And so what we have to do is we have to get out from under the spell, the control of our spelling, and see and read it for ourselves to spell the words, the Yochelleg correctly, and to put on the light that shines. Okay, and so. We have 5 parts on this narrative now, who Adam is, and I think if you listen to it from the beginning, and we're ultimately going to have it in a condensed version on the cosmic essence. Shelley and Ninja are going to, Shelley's going to cut it out, and then Ninja's going to paste it up and make a presentation out of it. And when we do that, you'll be able to just go right through it. And Just Love, Tonya Just Love said, my brain is gonna blow. That's great. Well, it's true. This is a mind blower. When did we hear this before? Who told us? Nobody. No, they wanted us to think Lucifer. They talk about this. Where did Lucifer come from? Wait a minute. Okay, in creation, what day was Lucifer made? In creation, what day was the devil made? In creation, what day was the demon made? When it said everything that was made in all 6 days was good, was perfect, was Yaltzar. I don't see the devil, the demon, Lucifer. I don't see any of these characters. Where do they come from? But I do see a man and a woman, and I see a man who was given the authority to name everything on earth, while everything was being made through the evolution of time, because everything on earth did evolve, because there were great periods. That's what it said. They were great periods. Peri-yud means great age. Peri-yud, great age, because it didn't happen like magic. It all happened through an unfolding, an algorithm of creation over a long process of time. Doesn't that show the great patience, the great quality, the infinite quality of our Yahweh, that he was in no hurry? He had, wait a minute, I got an appointment next week. I better make this in 6 24-hour periods. That's the priesthood lie. They have to mix everything up. They got to confuse us. That's what Babylon is. It's confusion. Okay? So we spill the beans here. It's the revelation of Yeshua. I'm not smart enough to figure this out. He's been giving me the download, You're giving me the software on my hardware in my brain, and he gives me the vision, and I it was a 40-year journey to get here, ladies and gentlemen, to present it. And I started reading ancient history at age 14, so literally over 40 years in the wilderness. So we're covering ground nobody else is covering, even the flood. When I point out that the word Mediterranean means the sea in the middle of the land, and then when they referred to Peleg, and they said Peleg, he got the name because this was the time when the earth was divided. What earth was divided? The big continent of Europe and Africa, when the Atlantic Ocean flooded in at the Strait of Gibraltar, when Africa and Europe pulled apart, and the Atlantic Ocean flooded in for 4,000 miles all the way to the Levant, and so much water came in that the Black Sea became twice as deep. Thank you, Shelley. There's the flood. There's the great flood. Been looking at us all of our life, and nobody points out that what does Mediterranean Sea mean? Meta, middle, terrain, land, sea, Let's read it correctly. The sea in the middle of the terrain, the sea in the middle of the land. In France, they've got caves with pictures of African animals on the caves. Why? Because they used to walk right up into Europe. There was no water there. There was no barrier. It was a jungle. The Sahara Desert was a jungle until the flood changed everything. Everything changed with the flood by atmospheric conditions. Okay? Nobody. But yet, look at how narrow Spain and Morocco are together. It's just a little opening. And it flooded in. My state of New Jersey, where I grew up, came on the map when the waters went lower in the oceans because the Mediterranean filled up and the Black Sea filled up. You know? Nobody's telling it straight, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody. You got to hear first. Don't you forget it. Do tell your friends. Come on back. Listen to all the files that we're developing. We've got so much of it. Share it. Download it. Whatever. It's about soul novation. Soul novation, for correct terminology, for salvation. They got you salivating. No, it's not salivation. It's soul novation. The new star. Novation, it means new. A new star. Soul is star. Novation. You have to become a new star because the first one is the one in the darkness. It's a dead star. We're in the state of death until we wake up to the light of the truth, and then we have to become the second born. So we have to die metaphysically so that we can live metaphysically in the other realm, ladies and gentlemen. So I think we've done enough damage for one day, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've made lemonade out of lemons. Some people just never going to get it, and they don't want to have to change their paradigm. It's a tough deal to know you've been lied to all your life, and that nobody's saying it right. I don't know how I got here. I just wanted the truth for myself. I saw what the world did to me, and I just went on the journey of discovery and ended up with 2,000 books on the shelf. Did home church, homeschool, did all that stuff. I wanted nothing to do with the world. My primary maxim was separate yourself and I will have supper with you, and be a separate people. And so even the Nazaré were told to be separate. Israel were told to be separate. So you have to separate yourself from the mass, because the mass is in confusion. The mass is always wrong. They're always following the illusion, and you'll find yourself alone. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you a fugitive. Then you won't be able to talk to your family. Then you won't be able to talk to your friends anymore, because you woke up and they're still in the Matrix. The movie The Matrix really just defines it so well, And so we got to put those sunglasses on and just be careful what we say, because somebody might get offended, or you might end up talking to the secret society guy, and then the next thing you know, they're going to be following you everywhere around town. Yeah, that's what happens. It's what they're doing to me over here. So that's okay. I moved into a small town. I got to relocate, and I'll get out of here. The Father will take care of me. How do you spell that? Soul novation. Oh, that's not hard. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Soul novation. SOLNOVATION. There you go. Soul novation, for salvation. SALVATION. Okay. See the difference? It's a big difference, right? Novation means to make new, and it's a new star. Soul novation. Because what did he tell Abraham? What did he tell Abraham? He says, you'll have two different seeds coming out of you. One will be like the dirt, and we don't want to be like dirt. And he says, then another seed will come out of you. They will be like the stars of heaven. New stars. Okay, that's what he's doing. And, and so it's a great mystery, but that's what we talk about right here. The great mystery, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome. Tonya. Okay, so good to have you stopping in today. Nice to get new listeners, and want to welcome anyone else on the stream listening in. Okay, but I guess we're going to wrap it up if there's no other comments or questions. If you want to call in right now, then it's Forbidden History Live, or you can call in on the hotline here. Not it's very hot actually, and I'd rather get it on Skype, but you can call in 608-566-7295 if you don't have Skype. 608-566-7295, and we're just here to serve. Okay, we're for all that Yeshua gave me, I know I have to share it. I have to share. If I don't, I'm dead. There's life in the giving, and the idea is he's using me as a conduit to be able to share it with others, so they can find their eternity. The day without end, a day without end. Can you imagine? And you don't go to sleep anymore. You don't have to wake up every morning and be mourning. In fact, you don't want to have a wake either. If you're awake, your funeral. They've tricked us with all these words, ladies and gentlemen, outside the Vatican, the modern day Babylon. And okay, nobody's calling. So with that, then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I'm losing my voice, and I'm just so grateful that all of you tuned in. And I just don't want you to forget, I'm Dezert-Owl telling you, if you want to know the future, then you need to look for the Forbidden History, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week on the RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network, YouTube.com, Forbidden History Live, and NinjaCat 111. What they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here, and somebody's got to do it. And look for us on Tuesday evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Next broadcast on Forbidden History Live. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Good to chat with all of you there, okay? Be well. Be safe out there.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day, with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils. Catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflecting Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never